Fuck you, Auburn!
A little bit of excitement, baby. A little bit of excitement.
Fuck you, Auburn! Holy shit, Mick!
Welcome to the show. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What is even happening anymore?
I can't believe it.
What is even happening anymore?
This place, unbelievable.
Look, was it Barron? Somebody yesterday or the day before, they said, look, I think it was Barron. They said, look, what happened 2 years ago may have reversed the voodoo.
Yeah.
Like it might have, it was what we needed to kill whatever BS was going on down there. And Mick, we were left for dead. That right there is the way Auburn's supposed to win.
I know.
Wow.
I almost started crying.
Mick, I took a blood pressure pill in the fourth quarter.
Daniel Moore, get your canvas ready. There's your next print.
We got a special moment for you. Wow. Nick Saban just said, you know, there's been some weird stuff that's happened here.
How about Milroe? Milroe. You know, Jay Coker said, Alabama has these seasons. You have to have the drive. You have to have the play at the end of the game. I said, I don't see it. The guy's like, another bad snap. Fourth and forever.
Oh, the tears. Sorry, Mick.
Unbelievable.
They're panning the crowd, and it's amazing.
I cannot believe it.
Sorry, I'm listening to Jalen here.
Yeah, me too. I just, what do you guys think? I see the comment sections lighting up. I think a lot of you guys are like us. Like,
look, we might break the channel tonight.
Look at this right here. Let me throw this up. This was moments. James, right off the bat, he's like, college football hopes are dead, unfortunately.
James, buddy, you were roll tide,
baby. Roll tide. Look, this channel, this isn't, I'm from some other state and I'm doing this for a career. Yeah. This is Alabama people talking Alabama football.
This is graduates.
Yeah,
okay?
Right.
This is my family. My dad was born in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, this is me. Still paying for that education.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I came in the studio for the fourth quarter. It's where I was when we had the 4 overtime win. And then like this place, man, the studio has an aura.
Well, all I can tell you is I did the same thing as 2 years ago, and I got up in my man cave here, and I just started pacing like a caged lion behind the couches. And I'm to the point that my son switched positions from sitting up watching his iPad when they muffed the punt to laying down. I asked him to sit back up. Like, I've changed shirts 3 times. What a night. What a night.
Fucking believable.
What a night.
Just let me throw that out there. I got to tell you, look, man, as much as I hate to do it, got to take my hat off to Auburn. Hell of a game, man. But this Bama team, they got something.
Man,
they just got something. I mean, they found the damn way to get it done.
Oh, they didn't give Terry on the pick 6. I don't know if he actually stayed in bounds, but I was hoping they gave it to him.
So the score is 27-24.
27-24, yeah. Yeah.
You know, they wouldn't have got over the hump anyway. Oh, man, there's so much to talk about, dude. So much to talk about, man. I can't wait to hear what Saban says. We're going to have him when he's ready.
Look, here's the thing with Adam's comment. I love Adam, okay? Adam, you're my guy. I know you super chat Mick all the time, but you're my guy, brother. Adam. I love Adam. But look, everybody 2 years ago when this happened with Bryce said the same thing. Like, there was more money bet on Georgia 2 years ago when the line opened on Sunday than any Alabama game the entire season.
Right.
Everybody pounded Georgia. So I'm just telling you that, look, when you got the GOAT, don't let a performance in the Haunted Mansion deter your everyday thinking. Okay?
I'm with you. Enjoy this.
That happen. Yeah.
Enjoy this. You know what I like?
In advance.
I like drinking Auburn tears.
They're tasty.
I'm like, did you ever see Indiana Jones? The heart right here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The only thing better is Yingling. The only thing better is Yingling and Screwball. There's only two things better than Auburn tears.
It was last night. I didn't do a whole lot today. Hung out with Barron's family. We watched Smokey perform. Boyd was there. Met a guy that's an Elvis impersonator. I mean, it was, the entire Holt Clark family was there. His wife bought shots. It was a great night at Floribama. And then my son asked my wife why Dad didn't get out of bed all day. I got out of bed. I came in here to talk to you guys because I got to tell you right now, I got to say this. I just got to say this to everybody here. Roll motherfucking Tide. It's the hat, baby.
Yeah,
I had to go get the hat, put the hat on, the lucky hat. No, I don't know. I just can't believe it, man. I cannot believe it. This is like when you get into these battles down on the plains and everything goes their way. They had that one bad call at the beginning of the game. There's one bad call where the guy face masked, and then the rest of the game, it was like, here we go. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. And then we played like absolute dog shit today. We were way too soft. Way too soft. And then
hey, here's the other thing on that penalty, Mick. It was a face mask. There's no doubt about it. But it was also a block in the back.
So it's both.
Offsetting penalties.
And that's what they should have done. That's what they should have done.
Offsetting, and you re-kick, everybody freaking the fuck out. And it's like, what are you doing? So I want to jump, since we're on this officiating crew, there were tons of bad ones both ways. The fact that Jason Autry, who, by the way, shouldn't be allowed to
so bad
middle school football. All right. Like, he shouldn't be allowed to officiate intramural football out there at the Capstone. He's that bad. The fact that they don't understand that you can't have three people moving when the ball is snapped. There's no doubt Bama was offsides, but three people can't be moving at the snap. That's
right. What kind of shift is that?
It's offsetting.
I know. I know. So much to get into, guys. I mean, we got to pull ourselves together. Pull yourself together.
I can't. I won't be calmed down until I don't know.
They were counting. We were left for dead, as you said. You know, we're like the Undertaker.
They sat straight up out of the casket.
Nick Saban in that final interview saying, "Believe it or not."
I just got to get the TVs right in here.
Oh, that's great. Is it?
You want to take some calls? After Nick.
Now, Florida State matters. I was so pissed because the whole night was ruined. You won't watch Florida State now. Now it's all Gators tonight.
Hey, look, Bama Fanatic just named the next annual more print.
Oh, he did. He did. He nailed it.
Danny, you better get ready, brother. You got some work to do now. I might need this one. I might need that one for the studio.
This is unbelievable, man.
You got to paint the tears in this.
Yeah, get them.
Gorilla, that was crazy. Woo. I can't even believe it, man. Adam, enjoy it, brother. Look, we'll be a different team next week. These guys took 2 weeks preparing for us, and you could see it. Like, it was a hell of a game plan. They had an answer for everything that we did, and they're not good. And I kept saying, like, they don't have the players to beat us, but you can scheme a team, and with crowd noise and a couple of bounces. If the touchdown that made it 14-0 isn't overturned, we blow them out. They were done.
Yeah.
They would have been left for dead. But what would you rather have, Chad? If you're not going to blow these guys out and you're not going to cover the spread, wouldn't you want to have a win like this?
Mick, this is the most perfect Nick Saban win you could ask for going into Georgia because it caught your attention. It's easy now for Saban to come in and say, guys, That's what that's what happens. That's exactly what, like, Nick Saban loves these wins. Maybe he doesn't love it this late in the season because, we'll see what happens here at the playoffs in the committee. You got to beat Georgia, of course, but that's a perfect scenario because Alabama now can look back and say, oh shit, all right, we got a lot to clean up, and a lot of things, Mick, that we were worried about, or not even worried about, that we said maybe we're worried about, but everything's gotten so much better week after week after week all season. And pretty much every single thing reared its head in today's game. Everything popped up. But man, what a gutsy win. 100% guts.
All right, keeping an eye on Washington State, Washington. If Washington State wins that, Bama beats Georgia, they're in.
No,
telling you that right now. Telling you that right now. They'll jump over. They beat Georgia next week. They're going to jump over Oregon.
The problem is, to me, the Washington game is moot. Like, it just doesn't matter because there'll be a one-loss team playing Oregon.
But what I'm telling you is that you have to have the one loss to make it a tie, and then the win over Georgia gets you in.
But you don't think Oregon beating?
No, I don't. You have to have that. Washington needs to lose
and then beat Oregon next week,
and then you're fine.
But what if Oregon beats Washington next week?
It'll be close, but you're getting in. You got to have the one-loss teams there. You're not. The committee has told us over the years it doesn't matter if the losses are the most important thing.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. Get the one loss, and then take care of Georgia, and everybody's going to be people are going to be talking about the last play of that Auburn game. That's what they're going to be talking about. They're not going to talk about all the shit that went wrong. They're going to be talking about the last play of the Auburn game. And we're going to be talking about the last play of the Auburn game forever because that is, I was here, Chad. I was here ready to come on like I was 2 years ago, same spot, and say, hey, man, this sucks. Then, in a split second, I'm about to cry. Yeah. After I screamed. And I'm sure you guys probably felt the same way. I mean, that's unbelievable.
I remember, I remember all these things. I remember Curtis Brown catching the ball in the back of the end zone. They call it incomplete. Replay in that game. I remember Ed Schism fumbling the ball in 97, set up the Jarrett Wright field goal.
I was in school then. That was one of the hardest ones right there. Because we played this game. Yeah. We had them beat. And as Denny Green famously said, they are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. We had them, and we let them off the hook. What year was that? Was that 97?
97. Yeah, I remember that. I remember, I remember honk if you sack Brody.
I was there with Ben. He got harassed by a guy with a megaphone walking into the game from Wire Road. I think I looked scary with my like toboggan on. So they didn't mess with me. They just went after Ben.
Poor Ben.
Yeah.
Poor Ben.
They don't realize he's really the meaner guy.
Ben. I love it when Ben gets fired up though, man. He did that. He got fired up at Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl in 2014. That was great.
Yeah. I did, Steven. I did. I'm telling you that I got to get that's got to be a Daniel Moore print. That's got to be, that's Iron Bowl gold, man. That is Iron Bowl gold. I mean, I'm trying to get my composure here. I just can't. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's get this thing going. See if who's this and where you calling from?
It's Brett.
Brett Elmore, Roll Tide.
Roll motherfucking Tide. Oh my God.
What was it like at the Pie Factory? Were you at the Pie Factory? Where were you at watching this?
No, I was at home in the dark, in my living room. I'm serious, and I feel like I've had 9 nervous breakdowns. I just unbelievable. I mean, I really don't know what to say. It's unbelievable. It's just the Iron Bowl is just. it's where crazy things happen. And luckily, like Coach Saban said, and in his post-game interview, luckily it went our way this time down there.
Dude, I can't even believe it.
Have we confirmed?
No, I can't either. I thought we were doomed. I did. I thought, man, we've blown this. We've blown it. But
did you scream at the television? Did you get up and scream? Did you yell? What was your reaction?
Hell, the damn neighbors probably called the cops to see what was wrong over here, like a murder was going on. Of course, I screamed to the top of my lungs
on a 31 yard goal, 4th and 31 goal play. They beat our ass today. No, that's just
yes, they did.
They outplanned us. They took an embarrassing loss to New Mexico State to have an extra week to game plan for this, and then they had the lead up until the last second and lost. And they lost to New Mexico State last week too, so they didn't get anything out of it.
No. It's like rubbing salt in the wound. Yeah, they had us whipped, and we just. Milrow with that perfect pass, man, and man, I've got to go back and rewatch the final. And after the crazy snap and everything,
can that guy just get this right? Can he just get the
snap and I'm like,
right? Seth McLaughlin.
It's like, what a damn bonehead. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. But it all worked out, baby, and here we are.
I know. That's as close as you come to a loss right there, guys. You realize that? This is as close as you come to losing a football game.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to be listening to the rest of the show. I'm fixing to wind down a little bit, if you know what I mean. And
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
And I will. I'll talk to you next week. Roll Tide, baby.
Roll Tide, brother. Roll Tide. That's Brett Elmore there, WJLX.
I may go back to drinking, Mick.
Hey, hold on. Well, you should. Who's this and where you calling from?
Mick, it's Ice, man.
Ice, baby. Ice, what the hell did you think about that?
I am still dumbfounded. I really am. But I got to say this. If initial thoughts, Isaiah Bond wears the number 17 really well. I think he is doing it justice. And my gosh, Milrow really overcame some adversity today. It seemed like anytime he was 4 steps forward, he got pushed back 5 steps, and then he still kept pushing forward. My gosh, man. And real quick before I forget, because you guys were just talking about it, the point that you were making with why we need to pull for Washington State is because if Oregon does beat Washington in their conference championship, and it's a 1-loss Washington versus a undefeated Georgia that loses to Alabama, I think that looks a lot better to the committee. In favor of Alabama.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. No, you're right. Look, you're not getting in for a team with no losses. So you got to have those teams lose. And then you want to muck it all up. And then you got the best win. You beat a team that hasn't lost in 29 games. Plus, you won the national championship, the last team to do it since the team that's won back-to-back. And they're going to put you in. If it comes down to no losses and you have 1 loss, you're not getting in over that. That's just, we saw it last year. Bama had 2 losses. And the teams that had 1 loss or no loss got in. They weren't as good as Alabama, but they got in.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was looking up Citrus Bowl tickets before that touchdown. I'm not going to lie. I was about to just hit you up and say, hey, come on down to Orlando. I'll see you there.
I'd love to hang out with you, Ice. Ice.
Oh, man, if you ever at the Kennedy Space Center, you let me know.
I want to come down there, man. That sounds like an invite. Well, Ice, Nick Saban's ready to come up, so we're going to throw him on, brother. But a hearty Roll Tide to you today. A historic Iron Bowl, my friend. I still can't freaking believe it.
Can't wait to see the Danny Moore print. Roll Tide, y'all.
I can't see it, brother. Roll Tide. All right, we'll take your calls again after the after Nick Saban. So let me so if you're on hold, just wait on hold, and then let me get Nick queued up here, and let's crank up the old ball coach because I can't wait to hear what he
long
says.
enough. Sometimes it goes against you in the last play of the game, and sometimes you're fortunate and it goes for you. And our players really stepped up. Got a couple stops when we needed to on defense, which we didn't play great all day, but we got stops when we needed to, and offense put some drives together, and we overcame adversity. Bad snap when we got an opportunity to score, and then we make a great play on fourth down. So can't say enough about the resiliency of our players, how they competed in the game, played hard in the fourth quarter. Got to give Auburn's team a lot of credit too, man. They played lights out. Watch them play last week and watch them play this week. It's not the same team, but we knew we were going to have a tough game here, and try to convince our players of that. But I was really pleased with the way we started the game. And when we started the game, we had some great drives. We had 2 touchdowns called back because of penalties, and we allowed them by our inability to stop the run on defense to get back in the game early on when we should have had the game well in hand. So part of the strategy going into this game was we wanted to get ahead so that they couldn't just run the ball and get them in some loose play situations, and maybe we could rush and do some things that would affect the quarterback, and it would be a little bit more of a game in our favor. So it's kind of a reality check, though. I think that's what I told the team afterwards. Sometimes it cannot be a great thing when you don't play really good and win, even though it's great to win. But everybody needs to have a reality check and build on the good things that we did. And there were a lot of good things in this game. But also we got to fix the things we need to fix because we're going to play a really good team next week in the SEC championship game. So I'm happy for our players. I'm happy for our fans. And this was a great win for our team. So I'm proud of this team to come from where they were early in the season to win 11 games, to win the West, the SEC West, and have an opportunity to play, in the SEC championship game, which I think is one of the greatest venues in college football.
Welcome to questions. Raise your hand for me. Nick Kelly. Yeah, John Campbell was able to get that punt off. I mean, his hustle there. What did you see, and what kind of happened there?
Well, it was a good punt. It had good hang time. 30, Jihad did a great job of covering. He was right in front of the guy. The guy misjudged the ball a little bit, was a little off balance, and Jihad was right there to take advantage of the fumble, the muff kick. So, but James hit a couple really good punts that changed field position, later in the game, which I think was really significant. And that play was no doubt very significant.
Jeff Spiegel.
Mick, you talked before about how this offense has developed, how Jalen has developed. I mean, to make a throw and then that catch in that situation, I mean, just how far has this team come?
Well, they've come a long ways, but believe it or not, we actually practice that play every Friday when we do walkthrough and we do special situations. We get in that formation. Everybody runs down the field and runs varying routes in the end zone. And Jalen made a great throw, but, IB really kind of got himself in position where there was some room to throw it. He pushed inside and the DB was inside of him, and then he came back out and Jalen threw it back out to him. And it was a great catch. It was a great throw. But that is a play that we actually work on. And I must admit that I think you have to be a little lucky for it to work, but I'll take it.
Chris Lowe. Nick, is this game a little bit of microcosm of your season? You didn't play your best first half when you had to make plays, make winning plays. You got it done.
Well, that's what this team has done all year. We've come from behind many times, made plays when we had to make them, whether it was the LSU game in the second half, whether it was the Tennessee game in the second half, whether it was the Ole Miss game in the second half. And this game today, speaks volumes for the competitive character of these guys and the resiliency they have to keep fighting in the game. And it should be a lesson for everybody in life. Overcome adversity, man. If you got the ability to do that, you got a great chance to be successful.
In the back, Ryan.
Coach, the 4th and short, can you walk through that? Was that, I don't know if there was a check off there, but just the 4th and short play that was called and the play that was run?
What we did was we tried to get them to jump off sides. And we had a play. If they didn't jump off sides, we looked it. So Jalen's under center and he looks the sidelines because we wanted to see how they lined up. And they had so many guys packed in to stop the quarterback sneak. We knew that if we pitched the ball, we'd have a pretty good chance on the edge. So it was really good design and, good situational football.
Austin.
Yeah, 10 years ago, you endured one of the toughest losses here ever. And tonight, 10 years later, this happens. How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel good. But yeah, we've had some tough ones, but still the team that played the best always wins in this game. And we played well, but we had to overcome ourselves because of penalties and things like that. A missed field goal, not playing great on defense. But, I can't tell you how proud I am of the guys and how good I feel about winning the game. But as a coach, you always look at things like, how did you play? Because we're going to have to play at a higher level on a more consistent basis if we're going to have success in the future. And that's what you're always evaluating. That's the reality check that we all have to make.
Tony, does that final play have a name of any sort? And then what do you tell Jalen going into that play? Is it more just a good luck or?
No, you tell them they're only going to rush 3 guys, sometimes 2. And, he's reading the guys down the field and they're doing things to try to get open. And he's got to pick the guy that he's going to have plenty of time. He's got to pick the guy that he thinks has got the best chance to catch it. And IB got position on the guy and Jaden did a good job of recognizing it and throwing it. And if the play had a name, I wouldn't tell you what it was.
Over here on the right, couple more.
Coach, sticking with Jalen Milroe, earlier this week, he kind of said he's the point guard of this offense. How did you see him maybe portray that, especially down the end?
Well, I think he made some critical plays in critical situations, no bigger than the last one. But I thought he played really well early in the game. I thought he played a really, really good game. I thought that, the couple times that he could have run and he threw the ball and we were across the line of scrimmage, I think that he just has to go because he's hard to tackle and he's fast and just make a decision and go full speed. But I thought he played great in the game and, his progress has transformed our team and our offense. And because he is a point guard and because he is involving everybody in the game, which is the thing I think he had to learn this year, he's now become extremely effective at the quarterback position.
Last question right here.
It's the toss round so many times. Luck, fortune, misfortune, first point. 4th and 31, last snap. Talk about the effect that luck has on this game. Does it ever really luck?
Well, y'all like celebrating a kick 6. We had the ball 5 times inside the 25-yard line in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and we were ahead by 7 points and never scored a point. Made a field goal, got a penalty. Y'all blocked the next one. Ran the ball to the 7-yard line, got a personal foul, dead ball, personal foul in the end zone. Backed it up, didn't score. So we've been on both sides of the good fortune and the misfortune. And I got to admit, we had good fortune. But it still comes down to ability to execute. Somebody had an opportunity to make a play, whether it was their punt returner or IB in the end zone, and whoever was guarding them. So that's why you play the game.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
There he is. There he is, Chad. The greatest coach of all time. Did you know that? Did you know he's the greatest coach of all time?
It's really not close. What the-
Hey, can I just say this before we get back to the phone lines? There is something in sports, right? Respecting the game, respecting your opponent. And it's something I really believe in.
Yeah.
How about the Auburn guy that went after Burnham and he's laying on him and he's throwing him on the ground and he's just acting like a complete buffoon?
Yeah.
I hope he feels good right now. Because he that move right there. You know what this is? This is the jinx. You ever seen the famous chicken? This is the jinx. Put the jinx on them. And it was Burnham's next punt that they fumbled that cost them the chance to win the Iron Bowl. You know, like playing dirty, playing, just cheap. That's what you get. Just wanted to throw that in there. Let's go back to the phone lines, Chad. Let's do this. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Mick, it's Adam calling from Georgia. How you doing?
What's up, Adam? Man, you're not as excited as we are, huh?
Yeah, listen, I want to be clear. I have a degree from Bama. I've loved Bama since 1990.
Oh,
I
know
promise
you do, brother.
you.
I know you do. Trust me. This is the thing. Let me take up for you for a second. You and my best friend that I grew up with, you guys are very similar in the way that you watch games. You're worried about the next game right now. You're looking at it and going, shit, we should have lost. We didn't. And now we got to go play this next game, right? And you're looking at all the things that we didn't do right. And you're thinking, man, if this happens next week, we're effed. Am I right?
Yep. You're exactly right.
Okay. That's what I thought.
You're 100% right.
And you live in Georgia, and you don't want to hear those dogs barking at you at work for a year.
Yeah, exactly. I know I'm going to have my students. I already got one email from one student saying, "Yeah, it's a great win. Get ready for next week." But here's the thing. And I'm going to say this. I do not like Jalen Milroe. I think he's a wonderful person and a great athlete. I think he's not a good quarterback. The second thing is, how are we allowing 240 yards on the ground? This is so uncharacteristic.
I know.
We just didn't seem ready to play, Mick, and it disappoints me. So my worry is like what you said, that Georgia's going to kick our ass. And that really upsets me because I think we could win the national championship. We just don't seem to be there. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. I mean, am I way off?
I know what you feel like, but last night I had screwball shots and beers with Baron Huber. He was on the, you saw it. You guys saw, some of you guys hung out with us on the tailgate show. Baron was on the 09 team, and it took that team to put together one of the greatest drives in Iron Bowl history, a lot of passes to Julio Jones, and then up church for 6 to win that football game. You know what they did the next week, Adam? They beat the best team. I still think the best team that Alabama's played and beaten to win a championship. They beat Tim Tebow.
Right.
They beat Florida in their dynasty heyday, and they played about a perfect game. It was as close to a perfect game as you could possibly play. I was in this studio feeling like you probably felt all game, and all you guys hanging out with us felt pissed off. And I got to come on here, and you know what's going to happen if we lose. The boogers are going to call here, and they're going to talk all their smack, and I'm going to have to wear it. You know, you guys can turn the TV on and go put some music on or go to bed. You know, I got to come on here and talk about it and you know who's going to call in, like when Tennessee beat us last year, and Peanut called in to talk shit. Where's Peanut now?
Yeah.
Has anybody heard from Peanut from Nashville? No. But the bottom line is this: is that the very next week, Alabama went to Atlanta and they stomped Georgia. They stomped them. They played their best game. These games they're tough. Auburn lost to New Mexico State because they were game planning for Alabama. You know it. And
that's true.
And so they had an extra week, and plus they had the motivation of going, you know what, we had one of the worst losses in our school's football history. I don't know that there's been a worse loss for Auburn. They've been close before. They almost lost to Jacksonville State, and then the voodoo got State and some officiating at the end of that game, right? They lost that game. They got their ass kicked. And they came back today, and they had a great game plan. I text Chad at one point, you know this, Chad. I said, don't tell me these guys weren't preparing for 2 weeks, because that game plan was immaculate. It was a great game plan. They just knew what we were going to do, and they were ready to attack it. They did a good job. But they also lost the game to New Mexico State and took extra 2 weeks to do it. Who knows how long they've been game planning for it. Everything went wrong for us until that fumbled punt, and then we won the game. And we won the game on one of the greatest plays in Iron Bowl history. 31 yards for a touchdown on 4th down.
You know what? You make really great points, and I agree with you. It's just, I've never really been a fan of Milroe. It's like the guy is either capable of amazing plays or just not being effective. But I guess my question for you and Chad is, do you think the committee is going to put us above Ohio State?
Look, if they put Ohio State ahead of us, F that committee.
I agree with you.
If we, and I don't, because look, if you beat Georgia, you're going to be ahead of Ohio State. But if we come in and Ohio State is ranked above us, when we do that show on Tuesday, F them. Ohio State got ball over today. Like they get them out of here, man. They couldn't move the ball. I didn't even think I looked at both of those teams and I'm like, man, they're not, either one of those teams isn't good. Not on the level of what you see with Georgia and Alabama. They're not that terrible.
I think we're better than both of those teams. I think we're better than both. But I don't want to take up too much time. But listen, I want to tell you, great show, and thank God we won. And thanks for the great analysis as always, both of you. And roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Adam. I'm going to tell you, man, take a deep breath, brother. You just relax. I'm telling you right now, as much as everybody's on you on that message board, Adam works in Georgia, and he's worried about next week already, because he's got to go to work with these people. We'll be ready. Bama's going to be ready. Trust me. It's an entirely different game, man. It is an entirely different game, and we're going to be all right. Roll Tide, brother. Thanks for calling. Right. Thanks for your support of the channel.
Roll Tide. Thanks, Mick. Appreciate it,
brother. All right, great call there from Adam. Let's go back to the phone lines, Chad. I think we got another call. Let's do this. Roll Tide. Who's this, and where you calling from?
Hey, guys, it's Robert from Mobile.
Robert from Mobile. What's up, dude?
Hey, I got a bit of a dilemma. I can't figure out which is the greatest touchdown pass in Alabama history. Is it 2nd and 26? I'm naming this for you guys. Or 4th and forever. I'm perplexed. I can't decide. Okay, 2nd and 26 was a walk-off national championship, but 4th and forever was a much tougher catch and throw. so I'm torn between either.
Man.
I'm still thinking which was the better one.
This was the
boy,
best.
This was the best. I thought the witch doctors had gotten us again. I thought the voodoo dolls and the witch doctors, because that's the only thing that can explain Auburn being able to hang with this team. Nothing else explains it. This is supernatural forces that keeps Nick Saban from blowing his team out consistently in Jordan-Hare. It's just the most perplexing thing I've ever seen, that we can't go in there and just destroy this team. We've only done it once, really, at Jordan-Hare one time, and that was, in 2011. And since then, we have not been able to pull away.
We had
like
him
you
too,
called
man.
it, just said.
Robert, we had him on that second touchdown, and I know it was a holding.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, it was a holding. I mean, I don't want it to be a holding.
Yeah.
They ignored a lot of pass interference with their DBs, but that one was it was a holding. Had to come back. And the other touchdown, he was across the line, and that's that. He's like 3 yards across the line. And I'm with Nick. Run the damn ball, man. They tried to stop him on that one run at the end of the game, and that dude got absolutely lit up.
Yeah.
Milroe's a package, man. Yeah. He's like
absolutely.
He's like a ton of lead coming at you.
Absolutely. Commit to the run and just go. If you're gonna, I can understand the holding off and letting your receiver break open, because that is too. that makes the defensive back stink. But you have to see where that pylon is, the marker is. Make sure you don't cross it. You can't just go off and cross it. Okay, once you cross it, you're done. Now keep going, go on. You make your decision and commit to it. And that hurt us. And wow, I was on the phone with my brother, and I was just resolved to, man, we lost this game. I can't believe we've lost this game. And then all of a sudden, Milroe drops the most perfect pass I've ever seen.
Man,
that was a perfect
Robert,
dime.
did you play football in the backyard growing up? How many times is you're in the backyard, it's getting dark, you got to go home soon, you got one more play, and your quarterback's running around, and then all of a sudden just unleashes a throw, and that's how the game ends. Touchdown.
Oh, wow.
But think about this in a game like this.
I told my brother, we were all resolved that we're going to lose, and we can't believe it. And then all of a sudden, we watched the best pass we've ever seen. Because that ball was absolutely in the perfect spot. It wasn't a lucky throw.
No.
It was precision. Perfect precision. No quarterback in the history of not just Alabama football period could have thrown a better pass than that in a more perfect spot.
Hey, you know what? You make a great point, man. Perfect. Tom Brady couldn't have made a better throw than that. Joe Montana couldn't have made a better throw than that. Like, they could have made the same throw, but they couldn't have made a better throw than that. And the catch was amazing too.
Yeah. Oh,
to make that catch in that spot, Robert, you're getting me fired up again, bro. That is, I just can't even believe it.
Yeah, if it was in the NFL, Isaiah Bond, that is a touchdown. It's not just college. You score in the NFL, son. You giving yourself an NFL cred there. Okay, and you give him a 2 feet, not just my one. And did he do the Michael Irvin nudge? I won't say push off. I'll say a Michael Irvin nudge.
I remember Michael Irvin. I remember him.
Yeah. I love Michael Irvin. Yeah, that's when but the referees, I will give them credit. At the end of the game, they kept themselves out of it.
Yeah,
they say, hey, guys, we are not going to bail anybody out. We're not going to be the reason that another team lose. This is gut check time, and you better have your studs ready.
Yeah.
So we're not helping you out.
Man.
And they stayed out of it.
They did. And I'm not going to sit here and say anything good about the officiating except that they stayed out of it. I just kept waiting. Like, and we're going to have some of those crazy BS flags at the end of this game to take it away from us. And for the first time ever, my TV was ahead of Chad's, which I'm always lagging. So I started screaming first. I heard him scream. We were too superstitious to put the to put the stream up at the end of the game because we're like, man, we can't do that. We got to ride this out.
And they showed the kick six, of course, the 10th anniversary of the kick six.
Bring everybody
We're going to do a 10th anniversary of the catch. Fourth and forever, we're going to do that?
Yeah, I hope so. Let's bring them all back to Auburn. The 50th win in this rivalry game, in this rivalry series, is going to be one of the greatest ever.
I agree with you all on the running. God, come on, defense. We cannot allow another team the rest of the season to get 200 yards rushing on it, let alone 244.
Didn't feel very Bama-ish,
did it? Georgia will want to run the ball. Georgia's going to want to run the ball down our throats too. Are we going to let them?
No.
We won't. I mean, we got to get this in check because we cannot allow Georgia to rush the ball for 200 yards. If Georgia wants the 200 yards, we'll get embarrassed.
Yeah.
Won't just get beat, we'll get embarrassed. So if you better take on Georgia, you're going to have to cut that out. I mean, you're going to come up with some answers, whatever, but we can't let this happen again.
Mm-mm. But you know what, Robert? I'm going to enjoy this one for 24 hours.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, dude. I mean,
I know you're right.
I'm looking past them.
I know you're right, man. And I know Adam's right. I know you guys are right. You got your feelings on this, and you're thinking ahead. Right now, I'm just thinking about right now.
You're right.
This game, I mean, the first ever game I went to, Alabama game, what made me fall in love with Alabama football was the 96 Iron Bowl. And it was Dennis Riddle scoring with 37 seconds left, passes from Freddie Kitchens, like it was the comeback. It was the drive at the end of the game. Like it was the Legion Field and the old gray lady and the crimson and white against the orange and blue, like you could feel the energy in the building. And I get it, man. Like this is different. And I didn't want this one to be like this, Robert. I didn't want this to be another.
No.
I wanted us to go in there and stomp a mud hole in them. But you know what? This isn't Michigan and Ohio State. I'm sorry. That's the second best rivalry. I watched it today. You didn't feel it wasn't this. This is different. Florida State, Georgia Tech. No one has this except us. In this little state of Alabama, we have the best rivalry football game in college football, which is crazy.
And that 6-6 at the end, CBS sure took their merry time putting that point up. I was screaming, "Hey, give me my point! That's a touchdown! I want that point. I want those points. I don't care if it's at this garbage time or whatever. You give me my touchdown." So they finally threw it up there late, but that's all right. We knew we had it anyway. But yeah, you're right. This was definitely the game of the day, game of the week, and it would have been great for a blowout, yeah. But it hurts the Auburn fans more. If we had blown them out, they would have been gone, and we wouldn't have. The look on their faces when Isaiah Bond caught that ball almost makes this worthwhile. That was close.
Yeah. That
shock.
Shock.
Oh my gosh! I mean, that was so good.
Robert, the thing that I want to say to Isaiah Bond, Auburn ought to send him a check because he kept all those people off the field.
You got that right.
Just the cut of it because they would have had to pay.
Take the toilet paper down.
Yeah, they would have had to pay, and they don't. Auburn doesn't have the money. They just they're paying all these coaches and everything that aren't even there. They don't have the money to go and pay for having a bunch of people run out on the field like that.
You got that right. Why did you guys go and they let you out of your Russian callers, your chat box? Which is the greatest, 2nd and 26 or 4th and forever? Since it's so fresh in my mind, I'm leaning 4th and forever right now too. All right, guys.
Hey, roll Tide, man. I think it's 4th and forever too, Chad. All right, back to the phone lines again, and let's talk some more about this game. Who's this and where are you calling from?
We got Mud Cat calling from Highway 72.
Highway 72, where's that? Is this? Oh, this is OG Cat. No, this is Mud Cat.
There's a reason I said Highway 72. It's a relative location.
Mud Cat. Mud Cat.
But no, I'm out here over at Jonathan's in Madison, just checking in. And
Mud.
Yeah.
Were you biting the pillow, Mud?
I was biting the pillow. I was swearing King Arthur. I was starting my your defense mechanisms. I don't really care anymore. I'm getting older. I don't really like sports. Like I'm going to get other I started I started the coping mechanism.
I'm going to Topgolf tomorrow.
And then and then after the clock, it was real. It was very real. And then look, I'm a nobody that just watches the games, but watching some of the clock management, I have my opinions. Sitting there with 3 timeouts. Milroe gets sacked on that 2nd down and like almost 50 seconds runs off the clock. We got 3 timeouts and you can't anticipate, in my opinion, it's your last possession. So with all this going on here, and then we called a timeout, before 4th and forever. So basically now your other 2 timeouts are useless. And anyway, it worked. It worked, and when it did, I had the same reaction that you two and everybody else did. I ran around, screaming like a kid. I took my shirt off. I think I broke a beer bottle. Like there was a range of emotions, big range of emotions. But funny. Man, this it does that win ranks. It's up there as far as like best Iron Bowl memories. It has to be.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. So, I'm with you. Your brother's with you, brother. We're all with you.
Well, I just I didn't get a chance to listen to too much of the show tonight. I've only caught about the last 10 minutes or so with that gentleman. What was y'all's just kind of your general thoughts on it?
All right, my thoughts on the game. Obviously, I didn't see that coming. You know, I thought Alabama didn't play physical enough. I thought Milroe needed to run the ball more. I'm sure they said, "Hey, don't run the ball." Well, I think in these games you run the ball, and you got to lay some guys out. He did that at the end of the game. You know, like you got to kind of lay out your dominance. You know, Alabama got outplayed a little bit in this game. You know, there's some bad breaks, but I honestly, man, I don't even know what I think. I just think like I'm on cloud nine right there. Let me ask Chad. Chad, what did you think of the game today?
Well, I don't know if he can hear me because we had.
I don't. Mud, just wait. I'll tell you when Chad's done talking what he said.
Yeah. So it was one of those. Mick, I said it like all week long. You got to survive the shitstorm.
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. Chad on mute.
Chad, you can't hear him when you're on the phone, but Chad said we had to survive the shitstorm. So I mean, I agree. Yeah, like, and he's right. We in a very dramatic way, in a very Star Wars type way, we blew up the Death Star when no one thought we were going to. You know what we did today? We used the Force, Mudcat. And when like Nick Saban said, you got to believe. You know, you got to believe. We fought to the very last play, and it was amazing.
You do. The only inkling I had of even halfway hopes was I was just like, I had that same feeling that I did. Well, actually, I felt more defeated because it was fourth and forever. But kind of felt that last time I felt like that this year was the Tennessee game at halftime. That was the only other time this year that I like really felt like just defeated. You know what I mean? Just sort of like, oh, it's over. And then once again, you know, second half Tennessee and the rest of the season, they came out looked like gangbusters. You know, and then tonight, I mean, I don't know if you want to say you'd rather be lucky than good. I don't know. I mean, I heard Saban say after the game that they had practiced that play. I don't know how many times you can practice that, but I mean, those guys are they're freaks. They're athletic as hell, and they're the Jimmies and Joes. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing. Sorry, one last thing I'll say. I was talking about this with somebody else. Maybe I'm too much of a homer, but because of the Jimmies and Joes, Bama has, like, next week against Georgia, I think they're a 4.5, 5-point dog already. I don't see how they're ever more than a field goal underdog, just, you know, with the way the program is.
Yeah.
So that's just my 2 cents. But looking forward to Saturday.
No, I am too, man. I mean, this is the place where we have trouble. And a lot of teams have trouble playing there. They have a good home field advantage. You know, they get a lot of breaks down there. They had the 10-year anniversary of the kick six. All those people out there when, like Nick Saban said, we basically beat them around the field the entire game, but we didn't put them away. And then they won on a fluke, you know, field goal miss that they returned for a touchdown, right? This was our kick six. This was our kick six.
Yep.
You know, they should have won this football game, but you know what? They didn't. And the fact that they didn't win, it really shows the poise and the composure of this particular football team and this program. Was it our best performance? No, it wasn't. But you know what? Those guys never quit. They never gave up. And now we go and we take on Georgia. We beat them. And I mean, if you can beat that Georgia team, there's no one in the country that can stop you. And I don't know how the committee could keep an Alabama team out that has won every game since the second game of the year and then beat a team with a 29-game winning streak. I don't think it's going to happen. The SEC is going to be in that 4.
But I completely agree. Definitely has to be Alabama or Georgia. My humble opinion is that even as the game's going on now, Florida State's going to get bumped. Even if they hypothetically say Florida State wins this by 1 point, you know, Washington wins out. You know, to me, it's still going to be Big Ten champ or Michigan.
Right.
You know, Washington, Texas, assuming they went out, and then Alabama if they went out. I mean, I'm sorry, but Florida State, I understand. Look, LSU's their best win, and I appreciate them going out of conference. But you played one. You know what I mean? You played 2 SEC teams like this year. Like The ACC is just not good enough to afford to schedule Akron, or whoever their third out of conference game is. When you play in the weaker conference, you just got to go schedule them more because of stuff like this. I mean, I know it's a weird year, but let that be a lesson to you.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, great call, brother.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, Mudcat. And call back, bro. Call back next week. All right, one more call, Chad, and then you and I are going to cut it up a little bit. I just don't want
He's going to be with me next week.
Okay, he's going to be with you next week. Put him in studio. All right, before I go to the next call, Thundar the Barbarian, man, thank you, bro, for the super chat. They go a long way to what we're doing here, and I'm going to toast you. I'm actually going to fill this glass back up in honor of you from the beer in the studio. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
Hi, Nick. This is Grace from Georgia.
What's up, Grace?
Hi. So I love this show. I graduated with Tua. Alabama's my alma mater. But I'm calling because can you please tell my boyfriend who called in earlier, Adam, to relax about Georgia this year? I mean, I think that we will beat them. And, Brock Bowers, I don't think he'll be so unstoppable. I mean, do you agree?
I think we're going to be ready for him next week. And I think that everything, look, Grace, everything that could have gone wrong today went wrong, and Alabama still won the football game.
They still went through.
And the game isn't at Auburn. As much as I didn't want to admit it this whole week, I guess I got to admit it. Like, there's just a lot of bad things that happened there. I don't know why. But Chad's shaking his head yes at me, as you can see on camera. I thought the better football team won the game. Alabama was by far better. And if this would have been in Tuscaloosa, Auburn would have lost by 30. But it was their plays.
Okay,
they get all these breaks. It was this is, to me, the perfect send-off to go play Georgia, because all those Georgia guys are like, we got these. They ain't going to beat us. And you want that. And our guys are going to be like, you know what? We got to get dialed in. They didn't do a good enough job stopping the run. I did not think that Auburn would be able to run the ball on us. And honestly, Auburn's offense performed way better than I thought they would. But you know what? Going into the New Mexico State game, if Auburn would have prepared for New Mexico, they would have beat them too. But they put all their eggs in the basket of beating Alabama, and that's why they're 6-6 instead of 7-5. To be honest with you, they should have prepared for New Mexico State, but then they would have gotten blown out today. So you know what? This was one of the greatest games in the history of the Iron Bowl, Grace.
Thank you. I agree. Okay. I just had to put that straight.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. So what do you think about, what was your favorite play in today's game?
It was probably the final play when it was like that last little run, the pass at the end at the 4th and 31.
Oh yeah.
Like suddenly he
what did you do when that
got
happened?
that second.
What were you doing when that happened?
I honestly left up in our living room and I screamed Alabama, and then it was kind of disappointing because after that Adam was like, no, we're not going to beat Georgia.
Tell Adam to chill. We got this, Adam. Just let's enjoy this win for 24 hours, man. I totally know what you're thinking here, but we got a whole week to build into this. It's the perfect game to send you into the SEC championship. Georgia's due a loss, and it's coming on Saturday. It is coming on Saturday. Just relax. They're not going to be able. They don't have the. Georgia's going to try to run the ball straight ahead. They're going to do the things that they do. Throw the ball to Brock Bowers. Their offense isn't going to be as creative as what we saw tonight. It just isn't. If they beat us, they're going to beat us up front. They're not going to beat us up front. Our lines are going to play a lot better, having been through what they just went through. And we all better show up to Atlanta and cheer these guys on. You know, we need to be there and not let Georgia fans buy all the damn tickets. We need to go there and make sure that we have a presence in that football game.
Oh, I'll be there for sure.
Yeah.
So,
well, anything else?
anyway, thank you so much. I think that's all. I just thanks for talking to me and roll tide.
Hey, roll tide. Great call, Grace. Well, Chad, let's you haven't got to say anything.
That's okay. That's all right.
You entertain our audience here. Why I got to fill this glass up at least halfway. I'm still. Let me put this back up again, just one more time. Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable.
Is it? It's just crazy. Like
Yeah,
I'm over here and I'm thinking like, what am I going to say when we go on here after this loss? And you guys in the comments section, you are killing it right now.
That's what I've been doing. I'm trying to interact here because you guys can't hear me when you call in. So I've been having some fun with you guys in the comments. And by the way, Mick, because I know you've been busy with the with our callers, Georgia Tech just had a fluke interception carom off of a Georgia player. And I want you to understand, I'm not excited about that. We need Georgia. Okay. We don't need any bullshit in Athens or Atlanta tonight. Okay. We need Georgia. So Bama fans, don't get excited about Georgia Tech winning. That's a bad thing. Florida, however, is winning 10-0. And that game is in the second quarter with 10:21 to go. We 100% need our friends in Gainesville to help us out tonight.
Yeah,
that
right.
would be massive. Washington hit a walk-off field goal to beat Washington State earlier as the clock ran out. Ballsy play by Washington, by the way. They had it 4th and 1. Okay?
I haven't heard ballsy in a while. I like that.
There you go. Welcome to tonight. It's a special night.
Yeah.
They had 4th and 1 at their own 29, and they went for it with under 2 minutes to go in the game. It was like a minute 20. They went for it from their own 29, 4th and 1.
Who's this?
They picked up Washington.
Okay,
early.
Washington. Oh, yeah.
They picked up 30 yards, and anyway, they were able to run it down and set it up and hit a walk-off field goal.
So they won.
They did win, but it took a walk-off to do it. So there's been some chaos today, Mick. Unfortunately, we were in the midst of the chaos, and that was awful. I spent a lot of time on Twitter tonight. I tweeted, no joke, okay? This is my Nostradamus moment here.
Yeah.
I actually told my wife early in the game, you remember the first drive of the second half, Alabama goes down and they kick a field goal. And that was on the 3rd down and goal where Isaiah Bond was interfered with and they didn't call it.
Right.
Well, on that play, if you noticed, Burton ran a quick dig route right at the goal line.
Yeah.
And the reason Milroe didn't go there first is because he slipped. And that's why he went to Bond. Should have been PI, wasn't, resulted in a field goal. I made a comment. I was like, I'm noticing a lot of guys slipping tonight.
Yeah.
The turf isn't holding. There's a lot of slipping. And so I tweeted out and just said, anyone notice how much players are slipping tonight? It feels like Crash Davis tried to get a rain out last night.
Yeah.
So the punt return, literally 5 minutes later, the punt gets muffed because the player completely slips, hits his ass on the ground.
Yeah.
And Campbell scoops it up. By the way, how about Jahad Campbell?
Yeah. What a good game
against Tennessee. And then tonight he gets the muff punt.
Yeah.
And sets up the game.
I like Jahad, man.
So good.
So big, dude.
Yeah.
And you know what? I feel like the football gods were with us when I'm watching the punter get just pushed down and the Auburn guys over there trying to act like bully in the lunchroom, and it's like, okay, you know what? You push the punter down. And now look.
Hey,
your guy dropping the punt lost the game. And it's because you upset the gods of football. Play the game the right way, man. Respect your opponent, and that doesn't happen.
There's another guy on Twitter. You may have heard of this guy before, named Aaron Murray, former quarterback of Georgia.
I know.
So, yeah. So in the middle of the game, he sends out this bullshit tweet. You know, of course, a Georgia guy, he's ready for next week.
Right.
And he says, "Hey, Bama fans, is this the team that supposedly would beat Texas at this point in the season?"
Yeah.
You know, you want to tell people like that. And this is what I hope that I fear with the committee a little. And that's why if you just beat Georgia, it won't matter, in my opinion. But like, get the hell out of here with that comment. Like, you're down
You got
7-0.
You got all the receipts right now.
I got them, man. I've been storing them up. Yeah, I got them for next week's post game. And like Georgia just tied it. But that's like me coming on here and saying, hey, Georgia, is this really Georgia fans? Is this team really going to win the national championship? You're down 7-0 at Georgia Tech. Like, get the hell out of here with some of these comments. You know, like whatever. Win, survive, advance, works itself out. Hopefully Florida takes care of it. I like 4th and forever. As far as like the title, 4th and forever, 4th and 31. I would like, I also kind of like Jalen calls game.
Yeah. Look at this. He wants to slap me for saying that I thought Alabama would curb stomp Auburn. I did. I'm sorry. I thought
he did.
We are a much better team, Zach. Next time, I'm not saying that, though. I'm playing into the superstition next time. You know,
there's something about it, man.
I can't really explain it. I just the whole game, I'm like, how in the hell are we not like, of course there's a holding on the second touchdown. Of course there's like, you know, they're running the ball on Alabama. Of course the referees sucked ass. Of course they did. It's there. You know, of course it is. Like, and I guess I just thought like our team had been playing so well. But you know what, Zach? It was still one of the greatest games in the history of the Iron Bowl.
But what did I say yesterday, Mick, with you and Barron? I said all these voodoo things that happen, and yeah, there were a couple of questionable officiating calls tonight. I mean, Jermaine Burton caught that ball by
I know. How about that,
Jermaine
man?
Burton caught the ball.
Get me a break on that.
And one official said complete. Another one came in with a worse angle, overruled it, and it was so close they go with stands. And this is a soapbox moment for me. Anybody who thinks that you just let the play out, like if somebody fumbles and you pick it up and run it back or recover it or whatever, if you listen to announcers, people all the time say things like, oh, let the play out, and then you can always go back to video and reverse it. Bullshit. No, you can't. You can't, because you can't guarantee that you can see the correct angle. You can't guarantee that in a pile of bodies you're going to be able to see if a knee is down, or if somebody stepped on the line, or if somebody, you know, was laying on top of a player. You don't always get to see it. So when I hear those comments about, oh, you're supposed to let this happen, and then you can always go back and fix it, that's stupid. It's just absolutely stupid. What I really wish replay would change to, and I don't know that this would have changed the Burton call because it was a catch, but you know, I don't know if they would have changed it. I really wish replay, Mick, you could go in and on a replay, they say, you know what, that play was so close. We're going to go to replay and we're going to call the play live as if we don't know what was called on the field. Like, get yourself in the best position on a camera and just say, hey, based on all the camera angles with no influence as to what the call on the field was, this is what the call should be. That would be such a better replay logic than this bullshit where you say, no, just let it play out. Let it happen. Just do your thing, and then we can always bring it back, because you can't.
Yeah, that was a terrible call. I mean, like I knew those jackasses weren't going to get that right, though. And I'm watching it, and I'm going, man, like Burton made a great catch. What a great game for him.
He did. Very good. What's going to be your name for this game? Are you going 4th and 31, 4th and forever?
It's 10-0 Gators.
It is 10-0. 8:40.
I don't even know, man. I just can't even. I don't even know what to think, man. I just can't even, like, I'm still, I'm like, yeah, Peanut just left the stadium. I know. I'm just still reading through these comments. I just can't even believe it, man.
And we were gonna kick the shit out of them tonight.
Oh, they were right on the
It was
verge of
over.
the ass whooping that I told you guys they were going to get. They were right there, and then it was like they just kept catching all these breaks, and it was like they had the one face mask. But you're right, it was a face mask and a block in the back at the same time. Maybe that's why they didn't call it, because they were like, "Hey, the guy got blocked in the back while he was making the tackle, and that's why he grabbed the face mask." Right?
That I legit thought that. I doesn't excuse the penalty. They still should have called the face mask, in my opinion. But that is something that crossed my mind. I just can't stand how bad they were. And it was both sides. Like, that should have been offsetting penalties. You re-kick. Then you come down to the 4th and 2, where, what a catch by Georgia Tech. The 4th and 2, where Hugh Freeze pulls his Gus Malzahn BS, out of his ass, and he starts doing his trickery. And it was a great trick play. It was a great trick play. Bama jumped off sides.
This is
Bama
funny.
jumped off sides. But you can't have 3 people move.
Right. Randy's in the comment section, a Georgia fan. And I love this. Like, you're welcome in here, Randy.
Come on in, Randy.
Jump in, Randy. There's no problem with you being here. I mean, this is an open forum. But he's like talking to that Georgia stuff. You beat Alabama once. The other games, you're always favored and you guys get killed. But I love this. Like, yeah, we struggled today. Female Franco is like, you guys beat Auburn by 7. Yeah, you guys were your ass was getting beat by them too on the plains. Like, don't act like it's you went in there and handled it. We went in there and handled it, and Alabama struggled. No, you guys had to use a lot of passes to Brock Bowers in the 4th quarter to win your football game with 2. So,
Randy, we keep receipts.
Randy, we can't wait to see you guys next week. But right now, we're going to talk about this one. Kim, Roll Tide Roll.
Love it, Kim.
Randy said 42-13. Okay, we'll see.
Is Kim Bostic related to Brian Bostic?
Of course.
You want to go old school there?
Yeah. Dude, where does this Iron Bowl rank, man? I mean, what's on the line? I mean, it's right there with 09. It's right up there with 21.
I think it depends on how the season finishes.
You're right.
Because if you go on and win the SEC title,
and
then you go to the playoff, it's a very, very highly rated Iron Bowl. The Iron Bowl from 2 years ago is one everybody loves. As bad as we played and as ugly as it was, it's one that everybody loves. Because you made it to the Natty and you whipped Georgia's ass on the way to the Natty before you lost to him.
I know.
So I think it's how the rest of the season plays out will determine. But man, just to do that to Auburn twice in their house.
Well, I mean, think about like all the times that but think about all the losses to them and how they're always like, we kill them and then they like come up with like a crazy play. Right? The kick 6. What was the other one that they had? There's like another name for it. They had another
cam back.
The cam back, right?
And
the ball bounces like 30 yards down the field, and like all it had to do was go out of bounds, but somehow it didn't. And then to get them like this, man, if anybody wants to call in 205-955-7515, I'm not in the mood to. I gotta stay out here and hang out with you guys. I just can't. I can't snap back into reality right now, Chad. I'm just like, we haven't even talked about the numbers in this game. We haven't even got into anything other than like, we were just amazed. All right, here's some of the statistical comparisons. Jalen Milroe, 16-24, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 18 carries for 107 yards. Him running the football, I think, was the difference in the game today. And I don't even think he ran the way that he really could have ran. How about Peyton Thorne? How many open guys did he miss? But you know what? He was 5 of 16, 91 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. One was at the end of the game. And then Hunter had 14 carries, 93 yards. Burton, 4 catches, 107 yards and a touchdown. And then Johnson, 4 catches, 76 yards and a touchdown. They were like, the guy never even plays. And then he had like this game today.
That was his first carry.
Yeah, right.
Was his first carry.
Right. First downs. The statistically is pretty even. 21-18. Alabama led that. Tide was 6 of 16 on third, and Auburn 4 of 12 on third. Bama 2 of 2 on fourth. Some really good play calls in this game, and there was one in the fourth quarter where they lined up at the right at the end of the game, like they acted like they were going to run it forward, and then they made the pitch out, and Oots had a great block on that. So tip of the glass to Oots on that block, set it open. And I think it was Williams that got the first down. Bama outgained him today, 451 to 337. Outpassed him 259 to 93. Auburn slightly outran Alabama 244 to 192. And Auburn turned the ball over 3 times. And that's another thing. Bama didn't turn the ball over 1 time. And if they turn the ball over 1 time, Chad, they lose the game. You know what I mean? Like, in this team, the biggest problem I had with Alabama last year was the turnovers. Like, they never got any turnovers, and they needed to turn the ball over some. And the guys didn't catch the ball enough, and the offense wasn't creative enough. But I'll tell you, man, but both coordinators last year weren't good.
Oh, Bill, yeah, of course. But one person had asked here what Peyton Thorne had 15 carries for 57 yards. Sure felt like he had a lot more than that. Like he had a couple of the quarterback draws and designed runs. It just felt like he had more. Like a few people have said, like you were going through the stats there, Mick, I think the biggest frustration for me is not only how many yards we gave up on the ground, but it's more how many yards we gave up on the ground, but we knew they were running.
I know. Because they couldn't do anything else.
Right. That's the part that
Peyton Thorne wasn't getting. Gus will have better offenses.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the part that just frustrated me was, they're not going to throw the ball, not effectively. And they still ran for that many yards. So that part was frustrating.
Yeah. It's still unbelievable. I still can't believe it.
Still speechless. Florida.
Think about it, dude. Just going down to the last play. Hey, look, if Florida State wins, if Florida wins this football game, it's a next Alabama and Georgia's playoff game to get in.
It's a quarterfinal.
They're
next
out.
Week,
You got rid of the team that you needed to get rid of because you got rid of Ohio State and then you got rid of them, and then who cares what happens in the Pac-12? The ACC, and I watched Kentucky beat the team that had lost 1 game in the ACC all year. Like there's, get out of here, man. Like,
yeah, the ACC is trash.
I mean, absolutely. Like Kentucky, and I got it. And Stoops is probably going to end up at Texas A&M.
Do you think so? I saw that.
Yeah,
think that's the guy.
Well, somebody sent me Chillrod said that they're going to offer Kirby all this money. I'm like, who that? Well, no one even knows. Like, this is a made up. This is a made up like media service. He's not getting $15 million a year from them. I bet you the boosters are pissed off right now that they're paying $76 million. I mean, to us, it's like, oh, it's just $76 million. It's a figure that you throw out there. Can you imagine being the guy that agreed to pay for this contract? Like, hey, the Texas A&M guy shows up and he's like, hey, man, we're going to make a difference here at this university. And we're going and we're going to get Jimbo Fisher and we're going to win some football games. Do you mind, can you throw in $30 million? And you're like, yeah, I'll do that, man. Like, we're going to win. And then you fire the guy with $76 million left on his contract. Like, what is that?
Yeah. You got to spare.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's around. Right. It's like absolutely like ridiculous.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
All right, let me switch to the I'm going to put the box score up for the individual players because I thought Chase McClellan had a good game today. 15 carries, 66 yards. He ran hard. Roydell Williams had 8 carries for 30 yards. Bama doesn't have like a dominant back, but they got guys that run the ball. Jam got a couple of carries. I thought the offensive line started the game with a lot of intensity. and then that kind of fell off. Some of the penalties. There was a penalty on a block that they said it was a blindside block. I thought it was complete shit. Like, isn't this what football is? Like, you're not supposed, there was a difference between running down the field and like purposely trying to hit somebody that's not involved in the play. And then there's another one where a guy's chasing your guy and you block him, it's like Tom Brady said, like the football is getting so soft now that you're kind of losing the essence of football, Let me go back to the phone lines, Chad.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, brother, it's Heath.
Oh, it's Meat from Nashville. What's up, Meathead?
What's up?
What did you think,
hey,
bro?
Man, we're down here, and wow, I think is the first thing I have to say, and I have to say wow again. I've been to some great games. I'm an old dude. I'm 51. I was actually at the kick that Van Tiffin made at Legion Field in 1985. I didn't think I'd get anything to top that, but as I sit here at Papacitos in Atlanta, in Midtown, after going to Blackberry Smoke last night, the wife and I went to Smith's Old Bar. It's a really
Smith's.
great Bama bar.
Yeah, yeah.
You know it,
I know
yeah.
Smith's.
And it was unreal, man. I mean, that place, the roof literally blew off the place. And
you didn't think we were going to
Jalen
win.
Milroe.
You didn't think we were going to win.
No. They were stealing it from us. I mean, this guy. Are you kidding me with this officiating?
You called it criminal. Explain to the folks what you thought about the officiating. You just go ahead and explain it to them.
Where do I start? I mean, it's like we could sit here and talk 10 minutes, literally, about the lack of officiating. The one that was the most egregious to me was the kid, the gunner that hit the punter. And our punter just rammed him into the ground, and the ref was standing right there.
Meat,
both the ref and the side judge.
let me stop you right there, Meat.
They did not pull their flag.
I said this about that incident. I said that when that guy did that, which was just so cheap, that he upset the gods of football. And that's why the very next punt was the fumble, because if you play the game the right way, that stuff doesn't happen.
You're so right.
Dude, he deserved it.
Right.
They deserved it for that. You're exactly right. All right, just go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, not at all. I mean, thanks for interjecting there. I mean, that's something that it was just, I don't know. It's one thing, I'm a Dodgers fan, right? So I'm still pissed off about the Astros and all that shit. I love sports, man. I love them all. But football's my number one, right? And when you watch a game being stolen from a team that's busted their ass to get to where they were and evolve as a team. I mean, Jalen, this is not the same young man that started in Tuscaloosa against Texas. He is a seasoned, I mean, into the game. I mean, he dropped that ball right in there, and he was
that, man. What about that?
Unflappable, man.
It was like backyard football. It's getting dark. Mom's calling. We got one more play.
Yep.
And 4th and 31. We're trying to figure out what Daniel Moore's painting's going to be, which, by the way, if you got any right now, use the code Bama Tailgate and you get 25% off all of your purchases at New Life Arts.
Okay.
You guys better take advantage of it right now before they take that away. but
no,
Danny's got to do this. He's got to do a print of this game. I mean, this is one of the best of all time. Forget about the records.
Throw them out the window, man. It's the Iron Bowl. It's in Auburn. I've always said that every Auburn player gets a surgically implanted horseshoe in their tank as soon as they sign the contract. And they're the luckiest group of motherfucking booger eaters I've ever met in my life. But guess what? Oh, one thing in the bar tonight, there were some FSU chicks. They thought they were going to harass my wife, Melanie, but she shut that down real quick. And they were in there rooting against Bama. And all Bama bar and these FSU, trailer park hookers are sitting in there trying to just talk smack. And as soon as it happened, it was, everybody was throwing the birds. I mean, it was just a epic display of Crimson Tide love and loyalty in Atlanta, Georgia, in the belly of the beast, where next week it's time to man up.
I know.
You want it? You could take it. It's there to take.
That's
Are you
right.
going to take it? Or are you going to sit down, or are you going to take it? Right? You going to take it in the butt?
Dude, it's going to be such a different game next week, man. It's just Auburn lost to New Mexico State to get an extra week of planning against us, and they lost both games, which is why Nick Saban has always been like, you play them 1 week at a time.
All the time.
Nothing's guaranteed in
and
this.
You can't look ahead.
And you know, if there's anyone that's ever coached that's all about doing things the right way, not to upset the football gods, it's him.
No, it's Nicholas Lou Saban.
That's right.
He's the king for a reason. He's a GOAT for a reason. And I fully expect Bama to close this out and win the national championship, and Jalen to be the front runner for the Heisman next year coming into 2025.
All right, brother. Well, great to hear from you.
Have a good night.
Go back and do your thing.
Likewise, brother.
Send my best to your lovely wife, and tell everyone in Atlanta.
Likewise.
Roll Tide, and hell's coming, and we're coming with them.
That's right, brother. Send it.
See ya.
Roll Tide.
That was meat. Got a little animated there. Did that offend
I like
anybody?
Animation. Animation.
Did anybody get offended?
Look, anything goes tonight, guys. I hate to tell you, anything goes tonight.
All right, I'm gonna pull this up. It is a super chat, and I'm gonna put this up here because it's directed at you, and I do want to see what you think about this because
I've been answering him in the chat, but put it up there. We love.
I'm gonna put it up there. I do. This you know this, Chad. The strength of schedule after that Chattanooga game went from like 1 down to like the 20s. I think it should go up again, though, right? I mean, playing at Auburn's got to be a tough. I mean, I guess maybe losing to New Mexico. I don't know, but
it won't go up. It'll go up next week.
My son does all the math here. I'm just a guy that, I just pay the bills. I just pay the bills. But what do you think? I mean, what do you think is what he's saying? Should we play jam more? A little more justice? I would say this. Last night on the tailgate show, Baron Huber was like, Jam Miller, man. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Loves him. And I take a lot of I respect those guys so much when they, when the guys that played for Nick Saban, say they target a dude and say, man, I like the way this guy plays because, I'm friends with these guys. You're friends with these guys. They're not when Ryan Anderson's in here and he's like, I like Chris Braswell. He means it. He's not going to go, oh, I don't like this guy. When Jake Coker's in here and he's like, I really like Jalen Milroe. I think he's going to figure it out. There's a reason why. Those guys see something in that person that reminds them of them, or maybe it's just something about the way that their game is. We don't see a lot of Jam Miller. We will, though, because McClellan and Williams are graduating. I mean, and it's going to be the Justice and Jam Miller show next year.
Yeah, their time's coming. Yeah, their time is coming. There's just not enough plays in the game to be able to do it. Because think about it. How many plays do you really get in a football game now? 60 or so? 65?
Yeah,
somewhere
right.
in there. Okay, well, if you're a balanced attack, say you're 50-50 and you throw it 30 times, which Alabama doesn't. Bama's usually low to mid 20s.
Very balanced.
No, Milroe. Okay, so Milroe had 24 attempts through the air, 44 on the ground. So tonight was more closer to 70 plays and a 2-to-1 on rushing versus throwing. But when you look at it, there's just, if you got 44 carries and Milroe carried, that's actually shocking, but I guess it's true.
Yeah,
Milroe
I got to let
18
John
times
in. You just
tonight.
keep talking.
Yeah, Milroe carried 18 times tonight. So there's just not enough plays in a game, so you can't play all 4, and they're all good, but you can't play all 4, and then nobody can get in a rhythm. You're just kind of stuck. No one gets in a rhythm if you try to play all 4. So that's the tough part, So it's just not enough plays in the game, and it's a great problem to have. We're sitting here arguing about which back is best when you got 4 that could start pretty much anywhere in the SEC, or at least be the second string in an SEC team.
Right. And get some playing time.
Yeah, we're sitting here talking about, playing somebody else. So,
all right, let me pull up my notes. I got to go through my notes now. And if you guys want to call in, phone line's open 205-955-7615. And some of you guys have called, and then someone's on the phone, and you're like, well, I'm not waiting around. Now's a good time to call. because we're like, we just can't stop this. I mean, like, it's just, we just got to sit here and live this together. All right.
I still
all right.
can't believe it.
I can't either. All right. Here's my first quarter thoughts. O-line looks nasty early. I love even the 15-yard penalty. I thought, like, you know what, we're hitting today. Like we're the offensive line's like coming in there to beat those guys up.
Okay.
I thought that I love the way that Williams rushed the ball. Those first couple drives, I thought Alabama really looked like they were about to take that game over. Auburn looked like they were overmatched. The horrible missed penalty on the kickoff. You know, I would rather just the officials get all the calls right. You know, even though that benefited us, I'm texting everybody like, OMG, like, you know, like this guy. Like, I don't want it to feel like we're getting anything given to us. You know, I don't want the officials to be like, well, we got a makeup call to make. Just get it right. Yeah. I think if you just get it all right, everybody's happy. Right. But that was a terrible missed call. And you're right. It was a block in the back. It should have been a re-kick. I thought the best play call in the entire game was the 4th and 1 call. That was a touchdown that they called back.
Yeah. Dude,
that play call was sick. And if you don't have the holding on that, and I bet you that if they wouldn't have felt like they had the makeup to, you know, because they totally botched that other call. Maybe they don't make that call. But that was, I thought that was huge. And then the punt, the really bad punt that followed that, where they took the touchdown back and then we kicked, kind of got Auburn back in the game. And then all of a sudden they just started running all over us. You know?
Here's the problem when they ran it. When they ran it, the problem and the reason we couldn't stop their run game is because on first down, we were allowing 3, 4, and 5 yards.
Right. We were, yeah. And we weren't even touching them.
No, if they were in 2nd and 9 or 10, then their offense got out of whack and they couldn't figure out what to do. And that's where they would end up punting, or 3rd and long, they'd have problems, whatever. But when they were sitting here and it was a situation where they were at, 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, even 2nd and 7, then they're in 3rd and 2,
right,
3rd and 1, 3rd. Like, that's really hard to stop, no matter how good your defense is, because Auburn's got pretty good little run game. So it's just
they did today.
Yeah, well, they did
today.
Georgia too. I saw somebody in the chat. They helped us out with some stats. Auburn had over 200 yards on the ground against Georgia also.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean,
take that, Georgia fan.
Where's Randy?
Yeah, we're Randy. Now, Randy, you're welcome here, man. I'm not holding it against you. Get in there and talk. As long as my whole thing about it is get in the comments section and you guys hash it out, but let's just do it in a fun way where we respect each other. That's the only rule I have. Kendrick Law does a lot. That was one of my first quarter notes. I thought Chase was hitting the holes. I thought this, and this was really something that changed towards the end of the game. But I thought Milroe looked like he was afraid to take hits, and I didn't like that. And it was like he was afraid to take hits, and he was afraid to run. It was almost like they told him, don't run. We want you to stay back there. And it was like, well, the teacher told me I have to stay back here. Like, when you get into these battles and things and bullets are flying, you just got to do what's there, you know? And he missed a lot of opportunities in this game not using his wheels, which is one of his best assets. And I thought Nick Saban kind of addressed that in the postgame show as well. I don't want him to get hurt, but at the same time, we're getting into the point of the season now. Next week's for a championship. And then if you win that one, then you're playing for the championship, right? So these are the games where you just got to put it all on the line, right? And I told you that. I felt like that was the biggest problem that Alabama had. Doing the Elephant in the Room podcast with Jake Coker, I mean, you're talking about one of the most physical quarterbacks running the ball that Alabama's ever had. Now, he wasn't a rushing quarterback, but you know what he says all the time is he's like, I look for the low numbers and I just try to smoke those guys. Like low numbers. I look for the single digits. Yeah, well, he would just run those guys over, right? But it sets the tone. It sets the tone. And I'll tell you, at the end of the game, when he was like, you know what, I'm running these guys over, that set the tone too. And he overcame the mistake of his teammates, the bad snap, and one guy slipped and he got sacked on a play where the offensive lineman fell down and the guy's right in his face. You got to play for the next play. And is Jalen Milroe, Bryce Young, is he, Mac Jones? I think he's better than Mac Jones when Mac was a sophomore. Bryce Young's the best player we've ever had. I think he's as good as Tua was when Tua was a sophomore, guys. I'm going to tell you that. As a matter of fact, I might even tell you that I think he's a little better than Tua not Tua, but Jalen Hurts as a sophomore. But all those guys had to learn, had to make mistakes. But the thing that they did, like Tua with 2nd and 26 or whatever, is that they came back for the next play. And I love that, man. And I love the fact that the guy does that, like this was a lot of teams would have most teams would have lost this game, but not these guys. All right. Second touchdown off the board with a penalty. We talked about this. Here's another topic, Chad, that I wrote on here. I want to know what you guys think. I feel like when I'm watching a game that's really important to me, that the sideline reporters are annoying. I am so sick of them going to these sideline reporters. Like, one came out like a week or two ago and said that they would just make stuff up. I don't care if they make it up or they don't make it up. Yeah. As a fan, and I appreciate the really good sideline reporters, but it's like you have to do it in a way where you're not putting them in a bad spot, where you're forcing in like, hey, and that's the issue. It's not that I don't think that they're good reporters. It's because they are. So a lot of them are. Some of them aren't. A lot of them are. It's just the way that the flow of the broadcast. It's like, all right, well, we're paying, Shelley, so we're going to go to Shelley. It's like, no. If the opportunity presents itself to throw them in there, but today it was like, I don't want to hear about. They had. Did you see it? They in the middle of this game, they show like the sideline reporters and they had a gift wrapping competition, and they're like gift wrapping, and Auburn and Alabama raised $100 for charity. I'm like, look, man, I appreciate that, but I don't save that for halftime. You know what I mean? Like save that for halftime. Like I'm so into these games, I just want to hear the game. I don't care who won the gift wrapping competition. Am I bad for saying that?
No, I'm okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying by that? It's not a shot at the reporters. It's just shot at the.
Well, that's the producer.
It's the producers. Yeah, like look, bro, I get it. You're paying that person. You feel like they're going to get in there. Get them in there. If there's a key injury and they can give you an update on that, get that. If it's so many of these people that produce these games aren't any good. Like they just have the jobs, and it's like. Putting the gift wrap segment in there in the middle of this game, like do that at halftime.
Well, it's all about the content. Yeah. And what's funny is you and I text all the time about the content, right? Like we always say, oh, that'd be a stupid show, or that's a stupid topic, or nobody cares.
Because we're trying to put shows on here.
That's what I mean. Like we're literally trying to make sure that if we go on here, that it's going to be worth your time, because the more that it's not worth your time, then
it's not worth our time.
You don't gain subscribers and followers, and the channel doesn't build, and it just sucks. Right. So that's why we do that. But same thing. Like, nobody cares about the gift wrapping. I don't care that Bruce Pearl flipped more pancakes at Stacks down in Auburn. You can look at Bruce Pearl's waistline and see that he flipped more Stacks than Antonio Lang.
It's like I just thought here. What are we doing here? Like so much of like producing is lost because you guys would think, and I've spent my whole life in broadcasting, that because you get to the higher levels, that means that the people that are producing know what they're doing. And what I've found is that they're idiots. Like that's just that somehow they got the job, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. All right. So that was a note I made. 10-7 second half. Turner stopped. You know what? The guy, Dallas Turner, makes big plays. And when Auburn was moving the ball, he came up with a sack. He comes up with run stops. he's just one of those guys who, when you need a play, it just seems like he's that guy.
Sorry, I'm getting fired up about the Gators here.
Okay.
But you're right about Dallas Turner. The Bama front did a pretty decent job of getting into the backfield. But the problem that I had was more today, like just figuring out the gaps and the run block and the run defense, because we were out of position on the gaps a few times, like more than a few. Because Bama could get back there to Thorne. But Thorne wasn't throwing the ball, guys. He ended up throwing it 16 times, which I was surprised.
He threw it on that play that we didn't cover.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
we had one play where we didn't cover the guy. But it was a play out of the backfield, a guy that hadn't made any plays all year, and then he comes up there and makes a great play.
Yeah, he does. And it was just one of those, like, you're watching this, and there would be times too where Bama would bring pressure on like third and obvious situations, and they were hitting slants. I think they hit 2, maybe 3 slants where guys were just wide open. There was another one where Fairweather.
Think about how many that he missed. How about how many passes? Thorne stinks. Like, how many passes did that guy? Like, just because a guy transfers doesn't mean that he's any good. We got Bookter. Like, it's a great example of that, right? All right, punts worry me, and that was the punt that was down at the 1 yard line. But they worry me, whether it's Kool-Aid or Caleb Downs. I don't know who is back there doing it, but it just worries me.
Look, here's the deal. I really wish we had a body cam on Caleb Downs for after that punt where he didn't go make the fair catch and it rolled to the 1. You got to go make the catch, man. Like, that was exactly the problem with Kool-Aid, is he wouldn't go make the catch, and the ball bounces and the defense is there and they stop it at the 1.
Wouldn't you love to have Javier Assad on this team? I mean, Javier Arenas.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, where I'm going.
Yeah, Arenas was amazing. I mean, him
different
and
Javier.
Yeah, but I loved Javier. He was so good. But I just mean, like, I would love to know what was said to Caleb Downs when he got back to that sideline. Like, I bet it was an ass chewings of just, and I'd love to know if there was video out there, because there's no way that Nick Saban is like, all right, you're the punt return guy now. On the first one, maybe not the first one, but early in the game, he lets one go down to the 1 yard line. It's like, dude, what's the point of you being here if you're not going to go catch it?
Yeah. Adam wants to know if we're coming to Atlanta. I don't know, man.
I'm there, by the way.
I tried to get a press pass through one of the radio stations that we're on, and it's just, I don't know, man. I guess if I had a ticket, I would go. I think we're going to win, but I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, we're going to show up against these guys, man. George is a different animal. It's a dog, it's not a tiger. And we do pretty good against those dogs. They beat us one time, and you would have thought that they've beaten us like that. The only reason they won the championship last year is because the committee kept Alabama out. And if the criteria is one of the 4 best teams last year, Alabama should have been in, but they weren't. They were number 5, right? And then they kicked the shit out of the team that, beat the team that got in, and then got absolutely embarrassed, right? I mean,
last year's 3 best teams were Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. Those were the 3 best teams in my opinion. I know Ohio State lost that game.
Dino Vine, you're doing this to me, baby. Roll Tide, man.
Look at this.
That is, man, that is what I'm talking about. That's why, man, thank you.
What a night. That's the Daniel Moore name, the 99.99.
Yeah. Look, let me, somebody sent me this right here as we go through all the messages that people send you. See if I can find it again. But it was the sad faces. I can't find it.
The tears.
Yeah.
The tears. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been to an SEC championship since 18. I had a streak where I was at all of them. There in the 2010 decade, but I did not go in 2020 against Florida because of it was the COVID year, so there weren't many tickets.
Right.
And then 21 I didn't go because we left on Sunday to go to California for Christmas. My wife is from out there. So we didn't end up going. So I'm pumped. I haven't been in 5 years. So this is going to be great. I love the tears there. I saw your phone. That was great.
Yeah, yeah. Some people sending me. That was from Phil Hastings. Man, Dino Vine, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, man. This is why we do it. I mean, it's hard to calm down right now. I think all of us are just we are on cloud 9. So and I appreciate it. You know, like just can't thank you and Adam and Thundar the Barbarian, all you guys that support the channel, man.
So great.
I mean, I'm really proud of like what we're building here. And when we get together, Chad, I'm constantly asking Chad, like, what can we do to make things better? Like, what can we do to, like, you know, make it more enjoyable for you guys? I didn't know what I didn't even plan on putting this together. And then it just kind of fell into a spot where we're going to do it. And then once you do it, you're all in, you know? And so it's been an absolute joy talking football. And there was, I mean, I'm going to tell you, I was coming on here with my tail between my legs. Like it was going to be a terrible day.
Oh, it was a funeral. I was going to get on and start texting you on the side and just say, how quick can we get the hell off of here?
You would have done that. I would have worn it, man. I would have worn it. Not that I wanted to, but you know, some Albies would have called up and, you know, and talked all their shit, but man, nothing they can talk about. A Daniel Moore print. Danny's got to do one for this one, man. He's got to.
How about the last time Auburn won was Mac Jones backing up Tua?
I know. And if Mac would have played a smarter game, we'd have won that.
Yeah.
We would have won that one. But Bo Nix was the quarterback, and you know, Bo Nix might win the Heisman. I mean, he's in there for it.
Yeah, he for sure is.
And you know, I'm part of the the disrupt the media with the next round guys who I love. Lance Taylor's my guy, and Dunaway and Ryan Brown, like they're good dudes, man. I love just a little part of it. You know, Jake and I get together, Jake Coker and I do the show. And when they come to town, I always go and hang out with them. I think what they're doing is cool. And I love being a part of it. Absolutely love it, man. And just to think about like, it's just unbelievable, man. Like the way that this thing unfolded.
Yeah. They're touchdown Georgia, by the way.
Georgia's not losing.
No, I don't want them to lose. That's just more of an update for the fans. Oklahoma State, by the way, just to get ready for next week. Oklahoma State. Oh, I love the Auburn kids in the back of the end zone trying to wave off the Isaiah Bond catch. The little kids are on the field like little 7-year-old kids. They're trying to wave it off. No, mommy, he didn't catch it. I
can't wait. The one little Auburn guy's been like messaging us all week, man. On the comments.
Yes.
Classic Bama fans overlooking Auburn.
Yep.
I'm going to message him right now.
So back to Oklahoma State real quick, just because you're obviously now, you know, I went from no joke turning the TV off tonight, not even watching Florida, because I was like, oh, if Bama loses this game, you know, Florida's going to win. It's just going to piss us off even more. But now you're looking at all the games next weekend. Oklahoma State had to go to double overtime to beat BYU in Stillwater.
Yeah.
And they won, which means they play Texas next week. If they had lost, Mick, it would have been Oklahoma playing Texas next week for a rematch. And I just think Oklahoma is the better team to match up against Texas.
Well, they beat them already.
I know. That's what I mean. Like, Oklahoma State and Texas did not play in the regular season. So they're going to get each other in the Big 12 championship.
I can't even believe it.
I'm just so glad next week matters beyond winning the conference. That's what's so great about next week.
I'm glad that we got a showdown. I mean, like, this is what we thought, but man, why? I don't get how the Iron Bowl is. I don't know, man. Like, for whatever reason, like, there's just something about playing down there that is tough for us, and it's like, I don't know why, but it is. But we won.
So another super chat. Dino Vine. Adam challenged him, said, throw it up. You got to get them over 100.
Chad doesn't drink, so I'm drinking for both of us right now. Like since well, I was saying before, since Coker and Ryan come over now to do that, I got to make sure that I got to stay stocked with beverages for over here. You guys got to check out that show. It's so much fun, man. Like Jake is hilarious. He shot with his bow this week a score of like 157 point, like 100. I don't know how they do all the scoring, but
I don't know.
157 is the score of this buck that he shot, but the rack's like huge, man. So, Adam, man, we appreciate you, man. Dino Vine, thank you, brother, man. I can't thank you guys enough for being on here. Anyway, what I was going to say is just like, this is so much fun. Like, we would have came on here and done the show if we won or lost, but I don't want to get off the air. I mean, we just got to hang now. We are all in this together. We're all in this together. I was like, I had to get everybody out of here. Like, here comes Jake. Like, like Dad's not happy right now.
Yeah. Oh, my poor wife. She
Stephanie,
comes up here.
Get out of here. You don't need to be around me right now. I'm not happy.
She comes up for the third quarter, and we had all the kids in here, and they were fine. It was fine. Like, sometimes people watch me watching games, and they're we got to leave the room.
Thundar.
Yeah, and so they all came up, and everything was fine. When Reichard missed the field goal, though, when he missed the 42-yarder to the right, I turned into a different personality, Mick.
Are you angry?
I went Mick Foley, and I turned into some dark sides.
Yeah.
I stomped around. I started cussing, throwing things, throwing hoodies, changing shirts.
I've seen you in action before. Not me. I just want everybody to leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to like get in a spot where when the disaster happens, I'm by myself. And the best part is, like, we're in here. It's 4th and 31, 4th and goal from the 31. Yeah. And for once in my life, my TV was ahead of yours.
Yeah. You're right. I do YouTube TV. Do you stream or do you do cable?
I've got YouTube TV too, but mine's just a little ahead. Yeah, and I see it and I'm like screaming, and then I hear you screaming. I'm like, I wonder if you're ahead and they're gonna like call a penalty. Like, I'm so worried about it.
So that's a true story. So Mick and I are both hopping in the studio. We're getting ready. We look like our dogs just died. We're in a miserable mood. It's like, let's go. Let's just take our medicine, be done, do the show, talk about it. We got to wear it, like you said. And we get in here and we do this thing. And all of a sudden it's 4th down and I'm barely watching. I mean, the TV is literally right in front of me. And I'm sitting here though, getting ready. And I'm just kind of like getting my phone ready, getting my mic ready, moving the keyboard around. I'm like kind of watching it. And I see him come up to the line and kind of dance around. And then I think it was 2 seconds, about 2 seconds before I saw the catch, I hear Mick go, "Holy shit!" and just start screaming. And I'm watching it, and I don't even react. I don't even.
What was it? Well, let me ask you this: when I'm yelling in here, right? Which was genuinely like all you guys were doing too. I'm screaming in here because I can't believe what I just saw. I can't believe I can't believe we did them like that again down at their place.
Yeah.
On the 10th anniversary of the kick six, which they love to replay all the time. Where were you at when that was happening? Was the play was it still at the line of scrimmage, or was Milrose like standing there looking for somebody to throw to?
When you went nuts?
When I started screaming, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like he was dancing in the pocket.
Okay. So you knew something good was going to happen.
Yeah, he was loading up, and I hear you scream, oh my God, holy shit. And the thing is, you can take that so many ways. You can be like, did they just complete it? Or you can take it as, I can't believe he dropped it. Or you can take it as, where's the penalty? Like,
right.
I didn't completely know, but I did err on the side of, did we really just catch that ball?
Yeah.
And then I see it happen 2 seconds later, and I lost my mind.
You did.
Absolutely lost my mind.
Go back and watch it. I turned the video on as soon as the game ended.
I think there's about 7 seconds of us yelling some F
I just can't even believe it, man. Hey, and I love this comment by James. He's like, how can the GOAT Saban not have crazy high blood pressure? It's like he's just like, that's what makes him him, though, James. I mean, like, that's what makes him him. Like, he just has this ability, like, to stay calm, and he's always on to the next thing. Like, for us, we're going to enjoy this. We're going to come back tomorrow. Chad and I are going to do a show tomorrow. We're going to kick it out for you guys, the Sunday rollback. We'll talk about this, and then we'll start building into the SEC championship game and all that. Saban's working on Georgia right now. My buddy Skip used to work for the athletic department. He was in the media relations, and he was just I remember him telling me, like, how dialed in, how focused Nick Saban is on the next goal. Like it's so hard to be successful and then not look at the success that you're having and kind of like suck it all in. I remember talking, you guys know this, I've spent my life covering Alabama and the Cubs. And I remember when the Cubs won the World Series, talking to Joe Madden, who was the manager. And I'm like, I feel like it's kind of like a victory lap in 2017. They'd won it in 2016. And he's like, it is, like we want to like enjoy this. And it's like, yeah. But I told Jed Hoyer a couple years ago, we were talking, that's what makes Alabama, because there's never we're going to sit here and enjoy it. We're always on to the next game, to the next title. Like there's never a satisfaction. Look at LSU. They won in 2019 and then they sucked in 2020.
Yeah.
The reason that doesn't happen at Alabama is because the GOAT he's always focused on the next thing. I love the fact that Adam is on here talking wrestling, because Chad and I both love wrestling. By the way,
I do love wrestling.
He's got Piper's Pit in here when he hit Snook over the head with the coconut. I remember that.
By the way, Survivor Series is tonight. Forgot about that.
I like LA. I don't really watch. I watch AEW.
I don't watch much anymore. I will tell you a quick story about Saban and all that. So I was in my business. I'm in the mortgage business, and when I
when you wait, hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. Let me do this.
Oh yeah, throw me
I'm gonna throw you out. I want to throw this up for you, Chad. And let me say this, Chad, just before you get into this, I wouldn't have this studio in this house without him. Tom Abraham, who comes on my show, we're just talking about Chad one day, and he's like, oh, yeah, Chad mortgaged my house, too. So, like, you've mortgaged some houses, folks.
I have once or twice.
He's actually great, man. Like, when we went to, like, go through the process of, like, buying our home, first real home we ever bought, like with my credit, which, believe it or not, was actually pretty good. Like I couldn't believe it when you told me that, but it was. And then, we turned it into, to a great house, but you were awesome, dude. Like, so not just because you're on here with me, but because, I hope that if people are kind of in that spot, that they know that there's somebody out there that will get their back. All right, you do that. I got to walk real quick. All right, tell your story.
All right, so Dr. Kevin Elko is Nick Saban's coach. So, maybe you knew this, maybe you don't, but Nick Saban actually has coaches as well. He's got a couple of different ones, and it depends on what he's using them for. but Kevin Elko is more in the motivational sports psychologist side. And so being in Nashville, we've actually had Kevin Elko speak in a couple of different situations. And to piggyback on what Mick was talking about and how Saban's the GOAT, and he literally does not change or do anything that other coaches maybe get relaxed. Saban is immediately focused on the next thing. He's never satisfied. It's the next challenge. And so obviously everybody remembers the Clemson game, and this was from the 2018 game, and Clemson, of course, beat Alabama pretty badly out in Santa Clara. So Dr. Elko said that when Saban got on that plane, that he immediately called him and asked him, hey, what went wrong? You watch the game. Tell me what happened. Tell me this, tell me that, etc. And he was using his coach on the plane immediately following that Clemson loss in the national championship. But I use that because on the call immediately after the Georgia national championship in Atlanta in January of 18 for the 17 season, Saban was calling to do the exact same thing and talk about, we eked this one out. We escaped. We did this. We did that. What could we have done better? What are you seeing from the team? And Saban's not talking about from a, hey, they didn't down block, or this guy didn't get off on the pass rush, or this guy missed his assignment. He's talking about just the team and the mentality and people coming together and how to get better and how to stay motivated and how to continue to attack towards the goal. And then he's also like immediately after winning a national championship, and I know these are facts, they're coming from sources on the airplane.
No, I know you're right.
Yeah, people are sitting here on a
Skip
plane.
told me. He's looking at the roster for next year after they won the championship.
Nick Saban wins a national championship in Phoenix, Jake Coker's team, and immediately on the plane, he's got his laptop up and he's looking at recruit film because he's going to see a recruit in a couple of days.
Yeah, right.
He just doesn't, he wins and it's great and he's happy. And then he's immediately, it's almost the only thing I can relate it to is like you beat a video game and then you immediately hit reset and go back and play it again and start over and maybe change the difficulty level.
Yeah.
And then you go.
I just don't know. Bro, I don't know how he does it, man. I just don't. Like, I look at him, I've run into him before. He's hard to talk to. He's awkward. Like he's not warm and fuzzy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then, but then like the guys that play for him, like when he's on the football field and he's doing that, like he's in his comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like when he's out there, it's like, that's when he jokes around. That's when he has a good time. That's when he's kind of like relaxed and kind of in his element. He does everything the right way. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking about it today. Auburn's like trying to run pace and their guys are getting hurt. And I don't know if they're really hurt or not, because I don't know how Gus does it. Right. Or not Gus, but Hugh Freeze. But there's times like we're playing Tennessee and their guys are getting hurt when we're moving the ball. Like, like you can't do pace. I don't think we've ever done that. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember us ever faking injuries to slow a team down. We'll lose the right way rather than win the wrong way.
They got to fix that.
You understand what I'm saying? That though, you know what I mean by that? Do you feel the same way too?
Oh, for sure. You see it. Remember, you remember the game? We're talking Ted DiBiase.
I know, no, Magnum TA and the $1 Million Man.
Yeah,
Ted did. I see
DiBiase
this.
was great. Yeah,
I get the videos on Facebook all the time of old wrestlers. I loved Hogan, and Hollywood Hogan, and the Immortal Hulkster and Macho Man. So anyway, keep going. I don't want to digress here.
No. They got to fix this injury rule. And one easy way to do it, in my opinion, is if you get hurt, you're just out for that possession.
Yeah, right.
Because that's simple. Like if you're legitimately hurt, what are the odds of you going to the sideline and coming back that same possession?
Yeah.
Maybe, but that just is the penalty you have to pay. That would eliminate some of the fakes. because then that guy who you're telling to lay down, now they could still maybe tell the worst defender on the field to be the one to lay down, but at least it would be some sort of penalty.
All right, I'm going to tell you this right here. He put up Brother Love was great. My nephew, I sent him this message. We went to, unfortunately, the Stephanie's mom's funeral was the guy that was like the preacher reminded me of Brother Love. I'm going to put this up for you guys. See if I can find it. Do you remember Brother Love? Yeah, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Bruce Pritchard?
This was what I just sent him the other day, like for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving with Brother Love.
That's so good.
Yeah, good kid. We're watching the funeral, and I'm like, we got Brother Love doing the funeral right now. Years ago. Yeah.
So good.
Dude, what I mean, like, let me go through the rest of my notes. More wrestling talk here.
I'm on Gunther and the Miz here in Survivor Series.
All right. Great sack by Devontae Lawson when it was like 17-14. 24-14. Pass interference not called. Like, the only reason why their DBs had a decent game today is because Auburn got away with, like, basically tackling our receivers. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. I agree with that. I mean, the biggest one I had was I keep wanting to say Waddle when I see 17 with Isaiah Bond, but the biggest one for me was that one with Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
Because it was textbook PI. The defender went through Bond to make the play and went over the top of him.
Right.
The only reason I really think they didn't call that one, other than they just sucked.
Well, they grabbed him twice and then jumped on him.
Right. And it's maybe because Bond was kind of stumbling a little bit. And so maybe they just kind of let that go. But it was so obvious. He went straight over the top, through the back, everything. And I can't believe that one wasn't called.
Auburn's play call to get it up 21-20 was awesome. Like, Hugh Freeze calls a damn game, man. Like, some of the play calls, the guy out of the backfield, Jones, and he's wide open. It's a hell of a play call. Like, they did things in this game they haven't done all year. And that was one of them. And it was a great play. Missed opportunity on the run, blindside block. Yeah, I was talking about the blindside block. I think we brought that up already. Missed field goal. We need to get Reichard kind of locked back in. Oots had one of the biggest plays of the game, and no one's really going to remember it, but that fourth down play where they, like, faked it a couple of times, and we saw it in the post-game press conference. Saban was like, we were trying to draw him off sides, and then we just he looked to the sideline, and then we knew that we had numbers to the outside. No one in the whole building thought that was coming, that they were going to pitch the ball out.
Yeah.
But if Oots doesn't block that guy, then that's the game we lose.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that kick-out block was huge.
Yeah, and those are the things that you do, the little things that you do to win games. And then obviously the last play of the game, dude. Like, I didn't even write anything about it, but I still can't even believe it. Like, Seth McLaughlin has got to do a better job of snapping the football. I mean, I guess he's got some kind of hearing issue.
I don't know, but you know, that just left me speechless, because if you're Alabama and with the running backs we have, there's just no way or reason that you should be first and goal at the 7.
Right.
And be worrying about punching it in.
Yeah.
It shouldn't happen.
Right.
It shouldn't happen. And that was the problem.
All right, I'm going to tell you guys this right here. It's just an opinion. Zachary says, I work at a grocery store. I was listening to the broadcast, and when Eli called touchdown, I ran from the break room to the front of the store screaming, "Roll Tide, brother. Roll Tide." Just my opinion. Eli might have caught his last game tonight.
Think
about that. Think about that. Yeah, and I'm being serious. I think he's got problems getting up and down to the stadiums. He could only do the road games. He did Auburn. He was our guy when I was in college, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if this wasn't it. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
35 years now.
Yeah, it's just his health hadn't been good, and he almost died last year. And getting around, like it just, they had to make a bunch of concessions kind of to get him into the booth. So if that was his last game, and it could have been a hell of a last game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last season for sure. Just because watching him on Hey Coach, and I love Eli. I actually, what's crazy, because for those of you that may not know, I was in broadcast back when with Mick, and that was my degree at Alabama and everything. And Eli actually helped me out. What was crazy is, think about this. I'm just in high school and college, and Eli was willing to take time and listen to my tapes. And he would give me his basketball charts. He used to call basketball before Chris Stewart.
I remember.
He would give me his basketball charts and say, this is what I use for when I would go call like high school games or small college games or a tournament or something like that. He actually would get on the phone and explain what happened, or how it happens, like how he progresses through and how he uses his charts, all those things. And he would listen to my tapes. And I actually still have an email from Eli in my inbox. I've saved it. And it talks about just him listening to the tapes and telling me good job, and, maybe do this, maybe do that, but overall good, and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, man, that's really cool. Because at the time I was probably 22 or so, 21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he obviously is Eli Gold, and he took time to do that for me. So that was always pretty special.
He's it's hard to replace guys like that. John Forney, and Eli's obviously right at the end of his career now. But when it was him and Snake on the radio, you couldn't have had a better combo, man. And I'm a huge Snake Stabler fan, huge, and but you know what? I mean, like the thing about the play-by-play profession is that you got to be on the ball to be able to like follow the action. That's the toughest part about it, and it's a tough field. So hopefully, he'll, if it is the end for him, he'll figure out a way to kind of stay involved. But I think that tonight might have been the last game. We'll see, and if it was, hell, that's a way to go out right there. Maybe that's the way you want to tip your cap,
Yeah. What a final call for him,
man.
But I will say, and I'm not hoping that that's the case, but the good thing for Bama fans is, if it is, you have an amazing one in Chris Stewart.
Yeah. Who's put his time in, man. I used to work with him. He was my broadcast partner.
Chris did the same thing for me in high school and college. Yeah. Always gracious with his time.
When I worked with Chris on baseball, I wish I could go back and do it again now, like just as a better broadcaster, because I didn't appreciate how much fun we had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my whole thing was like, I want to get to the big leagues. I didn't really care about doing Alabama baseball. It was just something that I was doing because honestly, I did it because Jim Wells asked me to do it. And I love Jim Wells. I still do. I've got his bobblehead right over there. Jim Wells is one of the best people in my entire career to me. And when he asked me to do it, it was one of the best honors I ever had. Like I'm still very proud of that. And then Mitch Gaspard took over, and it was so cool to be involved with the Bama baseball program because I love those guys and what they meant to me. And Chris would joke and make and say funny stuff. And I was just so focused on like doing all the stuff that you have to do to broadcast, like, and be good at it. It was hard for me back then. Like I wasn't really like I am now. Like I do games now, and it's like, my bad days are good. My good days are great. You know what I mean? Like I've done so many games, like it's easy. It wasn't easy back then. and he would say stuff and it would be hilarious. And instead of just like enjoying like his sense of humor and his personality, like I would be so stuck on the things that I needed to do better that I didn't enjoy it, you know? But every time I talk to him, you know, we talk about like doing Bama baseball together and how much fun we had, you know, just being around him every day. Like he's just a great person, you know, like genuinely a great guy. And when he got sick and I thought, you know, here's a guy that loves his family as much as he does. Like, and if he dies, you remember he was in a coma for a while.
Yep.
I went to his boss and I'm like, look, I'll work for him for free as long as you guys pay him. Because I was just worried about him. They took care of him. I didn't know if they would or they wouldn't, you know. But I was just worried about it. And I'm so glad that he's kind of like made a recovery and you know, and he's done so well with things. And I love the guy, you know. I love Chris. I think Chris is one of my good friends, you know, tip of the cap to him. And like you said, James, Eli, man, a GOAT too. The thing that sucks about life is that you get old. I mean, look at Saban. You know, like it's like, when's he gonna leave? Is this his last time to Auburn? You know, like, is he coming back? I don't know. Do you guys know? I don't know. But if he is or it isn't, I mean, I think with Saban's just in better health than Eli. You know, like, yeah. And that's why I think like he's got like some years in him. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, Saban's still out there spinning the ball in practice.
Yeah.
You know, he's still running with the DBs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But to be fair, like, I mean, Saban didn't have cancer.
Yeah, right. That's true.
But Saban's also just been in better health. I mean, when you're a football coach, and I know this isn't the case for all of them, and you can look at guys like Brett Bielema and Sam Pittman. You know, it's like not everybody's in the best shape in the world. But Nick Saban, man, he's always been in really good shape, really active. So yeah.
Florida can't move the ball anymore, can they?
No, they've stalled out. I threw in the
They're
chat.
losing and they're stalling out.
14-12. We're gonna need some more help tonight. Otherwise, next week you're pulling for Oklahoma State, Oregon Friday night, Oklahoma State Saturday morning, and potentially
Louisville might beat them
Saturday night.
Louisville might beat. Yeah, I mean, like they're.
Here's the thing: Louisville's better than they look today.
Yeah,
they did the same thing like that a lot of teams do in rivalry weekends. First down Gators. Adam asked about Saban being around in 2028. So that would make him, because he was born in 52, I believe. So that would make him 76.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could see it. I do think 75-ish is when you start to just look around. I mean, I don't know how, no matter who you are, how effective are you? If you're
Can you believe that Alabama won that football game?
You're going back to that. No,
I mean, can we just throw that out there? Are we to that point yet, crew?
Yeah.
After the bad snap, did any of you guys think we were going to win the football game? And then the pass that was like short of like the 3, it skipped up there. It was fourth down and 31, fourth and goal.
But was it the bad snap? What sequence did it play in? Like, how did we get to 3rd and 20 before Milroe ran at 19 yards? There was a sack. He just took a sack.
He got sacked
on that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Okay.
The muff sack. Yeah.
Yeah. He just got sacked on that one. But yeah, it was the snap is what caused the snap. And hey, by the way, did anybody notice? One, I don't know the last time I saw a game where you had 3 illegal forward passes. All right.
I know. We did it twice. And Milroe needs to run the ball. And next week, like, run the ball. Like, it's against Georgia, just run it. Like, you know, if you get outside of the pocket, you don't have to worry about it. You go all out.
But I'm going back and I'm just thinking about what did it, forward passes. The ruling on the field on the first two was 5-yard penalty, but the key phrase here, 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. And a loss of down.
Oh, you're talking about, right.
How
To get us to that point.
Of the foul? But how is it the spot? Like, that would mean if you ran the ball 20 yards downfield and then threw it forward, that you get 5 yards from there. So you still get a first down. So you lose a down. So it's second down. Like, that makes no sense to me. But then on the last one with Milroe, they said 5 yards from the previous spot. Like, they literally couldn't get anything right on some of these calls. And these aren't even judgment calls. This is like basic rule book, just knowing how many yards and where you go.
Yeah.
That's how bad Jason Autry is. And if he's the official,
you hate him.
I hate him. If he's the referee next week in Atlanta, everybody's going to be pissed because you really don't know who he's going to screw.
He can't be in the game. Come on.
He's just that bad.
Yeah.
He's just that bad. Adam wants to start Tyler Buckner.
But yeah, get out of here.
I got news for Adam. Buckner, if he's not already in the portal, he ought to go ahead
Adam's
and figure out how to apply.
He needs to go to like where would you put him? Like South Alabama?
It's
not bad down here.
I wouldn't do that to the Jaguars. They're a pretty good program.
Yeah. Zach is. I drove down Kenny Stabler Avenue in Foley just about every day. Yeah, and I was at the Floribama, and there's a spot in there, and they'll right up. If you guys remember Wayne Mills, and I gotta throw a shout out to Wayne because it's like it's his birthday, like this weekend, you know. So we always celebrate Wayne Mills at the Floribama. But in that top bar, when I think it's called the main bar, the one that's upstairs when it looks like the place that they had before the place got knocked over by Hurricane Ivan, like when you used to be able to just walk in when I was underage and go in there. Snake had a spot that he always hung out, and then they tell you, like, when you come in and you go past that first little area and to the right, that's where Snake used to sit in there. I wish I would have lived down here when Snake was down here, man. Thanks for
your liver probably doesn't wish you had lived.
I know. I'm going to tell you guys this. Brett Elmore, what's he talking about? What do we call it? Disaster.
Hail Mary in the dairy. I love that.
I'm taking off. I'm January's a dry January.
We're gonna have some accountability shows.
That's what I'm telling you guys. I'm gonna be a little grumpy, but hopefully we won't have any like games like this because
Adam jokes about me and Tyler Buckner in Chattanooga, but I actually said on the post-game call-in with you after the Chattanooga game is that Buckner should go across the field and see what the position looks like for next year. So you're right about that.
Put that back up there. Disaster in the pasture.
So great.
It's like, if you're not going to, like, the thing about it is if you're not going to whoop their ass like they deserved, it's better to win like this when you just win. And I mean, this was impossible odds. You know how they have like the
99.9.
Yeah, right. Like it had to be.
Hang on. I got it for you, Mick. I actually have it keyed up for you.
Gators up. Did you just say Gators up 15, 14?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It may be too bright.
I can't see it.
Yeah.
Was it 99?
Too bright. Oh, 99.9%. 99.9%.
That's unbelievable.
For Auburn. Could imagine getting in a live bet on DraftKings before fourth down.
One more bet.
Hail Mary. Betting on the Hail Mary.
I just can't even. I just can't even. I can't believe it. I can't. And I'm friends with some Auburn folks. Like, I just look. I know it hurts, and I'm not trying to rub it in. But roll motherfucking Tide.
You are trying to a little bit.
A little bit. Like, I can't even believe it. I can't even believe it.
I'm still speechless. So, all right, James brings up a point real quick that I want to do two things real quick. Is James? So James brings up a point here.
Bring it up.
I got it right there. So I agree with you, James. Alabama in 1966 was the only team that was truly undefeated. Michigan State and Notre Dame tied.
Right.
Alabama was the two-time defending national champion. And 66, Bama goes undefeated, 10-0 or 11-0. Michigan State, Notre Dame tie, 9-01 or 10-01. And they get 1-2. And then Alabama gets third. And it's like, how is an undefeated Alabama? It's two-time defending national champion third. But James, my argument to all of this is always the fact that Alabama claims a national title from 1941,
right,
where the Tide went 7-2-1. And in that year, it was 9-2-1, but they had 2 losses and a tie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically like what Auburn tries to do in 2004, where they say they're the people's national champion.
The people's champ, like The Rock.
Yeah, that exactly. If we're going to stay on WWE, like Bama tried to pull that crap in 1941. So I'm like, well, if you're going to you delete 41, you claim 66, then you know what? It all washes out.
All right.
Who
hey,
really
can I?
cares?
Yeah, I got you. Let me put this up here. Sick Jeep, roll, effing Tide. I'm with you, dude. I'm just so with you, man.
I want to do. This is what I think. By the way, if we're going to start talking playoffs,
yeah,
we'll do this Tuesday night. But Michigan wins next week. They're the 1.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon beats Washington. They're the 2. Texas beats Oak State. They're the 3. Bama beats Georgia. They're the 4. This is assuming Florida State loses tonight,
right,
of course.
So,
yeah. So this would put Bama against Michigan, and Michigan would choose to go to Pasadena because they would not want to go to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, where Bama would have a much larger fan base turnout.
I loved Pasadena, by the way, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Rose Bowl. Remember the Rose Bowl? Yeah. We'll win then.
I know. I would really, I haven't been there since
you and I were there, and I spilled a bourbon and Coke on your friend and my acquaintance Ben.
You did with
I was giddy.
You did with the bourbon the opposite of what Marcel Darius did with the football.
That's right.
That is, you spilled it everywhere
on his white shirt too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That was an epic game. But the Rose Bowl is just like such the classic setting.
Man, it is. I might want to go to that. I love this team.
Oh, it's so good.
I mean, I just love this team, man. I just these guys, they're I felt like we kind of got a little Hollywood, we kind of got to the point where it was like, hey, we're just going to sit around and watch Bryce Young do something. We're going to sit around and wait for Will Anderson to do something, like we're not going to play physical football, whatever. And then these guys come along and it's like the beginning of the season, man, we're looking at them and we're like, these guys might lose 6 games. I mean, think about how horrified you were after the way they played against Texas, and they were lucky to only lose by 10. And then to go down to South Florida, and we're like, okay, well, here's this Buchter guy. I mean, he transferred here for a reason, and he was terrible. I mean, he looked like Peyton Thorne throwing footballs. And then they brought in Ty Simpson, and he wasn't much. He was a little better.
Why can't Ty figure it out? Like, is it
I don't think he's that good. I think he's okay.
Yeah,
I just don't think he's that good. I think he's all right.
Is it a playbook problem? Does he not understand it? Like, I don't know.
Man, not everybody's great. I mean, he's got a chance to figure it out. But the problem is for him is that the guy behind him is figuring it out. Dylan Laudergan. And then the guy that's coming in, Julian Sayin, is like the best quarterback in his class.
Oh, Ty's going to transfer.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to leave, right? And Laudergan's going to be the backup, and then him and Sayin are going to battle it out. I would think so.
Yeah.
If he's and listen, if I was Ty I would stick it out. You know, I watched Tua's brother at Maryland get his ass kicked each week, and I'm like, this would have been your season. You'd be a Heisman finalist on an undefeated Alabama team.
Yeah.
You'd be ready to go, and you'd have an NFL career ahead. No, you went to Maryland, and you got
that good year?
Dude, what quarterback hasn't?
Well, Ty Simpson.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the guys that start. The guy, think Mac Jones would have been in the spot he would have, if Mac Jones would have transferred, he'd be like in real estate now or something. I mean, let's be honest, man. Him putting the time in allowed him the process of like figuring it out, and then eventually got him to the point where he was a starter, and now he's an NFL quarterback, man. Like Saban said, it's not what you do your freshman year, it's what you do the year before you go into the draft.
That's exactly it. Nobody ever asked Nick Saban how somebody did as a freshman. He mentioned that in his press conference. But I look at that's the biggest struggle, and Saban admits it. He's like, that's the biggest struggle I have right now. He said the biggest struggle is you got guys who come in, and some other schools are willing to say, hey, come on over. You can play immediately here. And so the guys go because they don't play at Alabama their first year or their second year. And so they head out and they go somewhere else where they could play.
It's beautiful stuff here.
That's brutal and gorgeous and sexy, like all the above. God, that's great.
It's
sad. So good. It's so good because
climbing that hoodie, buddy.
Like Bama wins next year, right? That's
make up on your cheek.
Next year's 5 in a row.
Let's not go to next year yet, please.
Oh, I'm there. Mick, we're getting to thumb territory. Fear the thumb. We're getting to fear in the thumb territory at this point, man.
That's unbelievable.
Fear the thumb.
Well, we had no right winning this football game, but I'm so glad we did.
Oh, for sure.
It's unbelievable. God, it was so I just can't even believe it, man. Was it a good idea to rush 2 guys on the last play?
No, never. I've never understood that. It's kind of like here's the thing. Here's the thing on Hail Marys. And this was like a mini Hail Mary. What did our guy call it? A Hail Mary in the dairy? Like, this is the problem on these. With a Hail Mary, you should bring at least 4, if not 5. You should almost blitz.
Right.
Because then a quarterback doesn't even have time to get the throw off.
Yeah, you're right.
And you still got 6 guys down there. They can only send 5 receivers.
Yeah.
So you still got 6 guys back. I mean, there's just no reason not to always bring 5 in a situation where you're dealing with a Hail Mary or just a throw it up deal. That to me is obvious. The other one that the other one that coaches can't figure out ever is if the clock is running and it's going to be, say, 4th down.
Right.
You called the timeout with 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
You don't allow the other team to run it down to 5 seconds and call timeout, because then they've got a free Hail Mary. If you call it with 20 seconds, they have to punt, because then they can't throw the Hail Mary, or you'd get it at midfield.
Yeah. I'm watching
Let's
all
see that pick again. Let's see the pick again. Can you put that one back up on the?
Oh, it was the yeah. Here you go. You ready? I'm just like scrolling through it. Like, everybody's got them on.
Guys, look. Here's the thing. Mick and I are both on Twitter, but
there you go.
Everybody in the free world ought to be on Twitter. That's so great. Everybody in the free world ought to be on Twitter tonight. You should sign up for an account and just scroll and just look for Auburn football. Because
break out the easel, Daniel Moore. That's what Galette's wrote.
There you go.
Yeah. Danny's got to do one of that. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. This is.
I just can't even believe it, dude. Like, this is. Wow.
It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
I mean,
I couldn't believe the 4 overtime game. And now we get this 2 years later. I mean, think about the last two games in Auburn and the final 90 seconds of the first one and the final like 2 minutes of this one. And just how absolute, like, it really does. Maybe not, because in 2013, the problem was that cost Alabama a national title.
Right.
Because Alabama was going to beat Missouri, and then they probably would have beaten Jameis Winston and Florida State.
Right.
So that cost Alabama a national title. But like, did the last 2 years, Mick, and what's happened, does that make up for the kick six?
Yeah.
The last two?
I think it does. This one, this was, like they keep throwing that in our face all the time, man. Like, I remember the kick six. I love Saban. Like, he remembers it like, like it was yesterday. Like, he talks about all of we had it here and we didn't do this. We didn't do that. You heard him in the postgame show. He talked about it.
Yeah. And
it's like, we should have won that game. We shouldn't have won today's game. But you know what? We did. And the reason we did is because we had better players.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, man, I can't even. I still am like just. I'm gonna go to bed tonight laughing, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow.
Be able to go to bed.
I'm gonna wake up tomorrow laughing about this.
I'm gonna be up till 3. There's no chance.
I had lunch today, and I didn't even eat dinner. I was like,
I haven't eaten dinner either. It's 8:37.
I can't eat. I gotta sit here and just like. I'm not. I've got a ham sandwich in here you can have. I just, it's like, I just can't. Like, I just got to sit here and hang out with you guys and watch this Florida State game.
That's where we're at. This is an unofficial Florida watch party.
Yeah, that's where we are. Yeah, because you got sick for the South Carolina one. And the craziest thing, I've get sick a lot lately too. Anything Jake brings home from school, I get.
Yeah. I mean, when you have little kids,
you got 3 of them.
It doesn't take much.
No, man.
Well, Florida, for those of you, Florida does have the lead. They kicked a go-ahead field goal. It's 15-14. Just under.
I'm not comfortable with that, though.
No. But Florida has missed 2 field goals tonight.
Have they?
Yeah. One was shorter. The other one was a long one. The other one was a long one right before half where he kicked it, where they called timeout and he kicked it anyway and it went in. And then the real kick he missed.
Yeah, I hate that.
So it's 3rd and 14 now.
Were you surprised that Ohio State got beat by Michigan again?
I was. No, I didn't. I'm not saying it as in I didn't know who would win. I'm just not surprised. It was kind of the game.
All right, hold on. I got to address something here, guys. Adam, I should watch WrestleMania 3. Bro, I watched it live. I watched it live. I watched it at Brian Wood's house. His mom brought us pizza. I watched Hogan slam the Giant, and Macho Man go at it with the Dragon. I had those wrestling dolls, the rubber wrestling dolls, and we used to get like the Wrestling Digest magazines and stuff, man. I know all about that. Rowdy Piper. WrestleMania 3 was like when I really got into wrestling. Like, we watched the other ones, but WrestleMania 3 was like, people can say what they want to say about the greats of all time, but Hogan was the great of all time just because you had to watch him. Like, you would cheer for him. Like, his kids, like, if his ribs got hurt, you're taping your ribs the next day in the backyard when you're wrestling. Just telling you. I'm just telling you.
I got into, so the first time I ever got into wrestling is Ultimate Warrior Papa Shango feud.
Oh, man. See, I hated Ultimate Warrior.
Well, I just saw that on a random Saturday morning. I just saw a guy puking in the locker room.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I was like 6 or something. And so 6 or 7. So I kind of got like hooked at that point. But Bret Hart was my guy.
Okay.
my guy.
I like the fact that when he does interviews now, like he'll do those like wrestling shows and tell you like what he thought about everybody, which I like.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was an NWO guy. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hogan. Oh yeah, the Macho Man. Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner.
The problem was everybody joined the NWO.
I know. They didn't have like they needed to have like whatever. All right, Ed says Milroe is much better than earlier in the season. He's still a sophomore and learning. Next year, when Milroe will really start to become comfortable and command the offense. Look, man, people can say what they want to say about Milroe, but what he did tonight is one of the greatest things that's happened in the history of this rivalry.
Yeah. How about?
I mean, think about it, bro. Think about it and how chippy it got.
Well, so I actually wanted to bring that up. Two things is I was trying to find it here on the chat so we could throw it up. But Hugh Freeze in the post game, here it is.
Do you want me to put his post game on? Do you guys want to watch? Is that something you want to watch?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they do. I don't want to speak.
No, I'm with you, dude. I'm just asking.
Nah, it's just gonna be whining. He's already talking about how he's pushed off. They're looking for the push off. Like, dude,
get out of here, kid.
Dude,
Come on, man. Are you serious?
He did say it.
Can you imagine if they would have called after? Go back and watch your corners like wrestle our guys before the ball got there. But then we're gonna call that in that moment. Give me a break.
The thing that freaked me out most was after the catch, I get a text from somebody, and all it just says is F word. That's all it said.
Who was it?
But they're Bama fans. It was my buddy Ben.
Ben George?
Yeah, because I'd been texting with him during the game, and he sent me that, and I kind of like I couldn't tell your reaction. Like, does that mean we caught it? Did he drop something?
Oh yeah, right.
I didn't know exactly. Well, then I see the catch, right? But I'm on streaming. But I know Ben's on streaming also.
How did he get ahead of you?
Right. Well, he didn't. But my point was I see him drop the F-bomb. And I'm like, wait.
Foul
and that's
mouth.
why I asked you. I
don't talk to him anymore. He's a foul mouth.
Yeah. But that's when I looked. Remember when I came back to you and I said, did he drop it? Because I read Ben's message. I saw it light up on my phone.
Right.
And then I went immediately to the replay to go, like, did he catch it or did it roll
well,
over?
I heard you say that, and I'm like, I at that point, I didn't know you were behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are they going to take this away? And I'm like, no. I mean, he caught it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Thundar. Sad commentary by Hugh Freeze. Lost a little respect for him with that. Lost a little respect for him. Really did. What a sad. I mean, give me a break, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah, he didn't push off. He might have pushed off when he was standing up to do his James Bond.
All right, Donovan, have a few for me for the Florida watch party. Please say the full one. I'm going to say it for your mom. Roll, motherfucking Tide. Let's go. I was screaming that at the beginning of the show. I'm sure YouTube will probably flag us for that. Like, you couldn't.
Yeah, guys.
I've been flagged a few times like this.
Luckily, there were only about 4 to 6 of you on here when the stream immediately started. Because Mick and I had a lot of words. A lot of words early.
Yeah.
The adrenaline could last me. It could power all of New York right
now. Free said that the guy pushed off. Get out of here, dude. Come on, man.
Gators have the ball back, by the way.
Come on, Freeze. You lost. Cry. Roll Tide, Jeff.
Gators are getting ready to be the old boys from Florida here at the end of the third quarter, leading 15-14. I love it, Thundar.
I do too. I can't even believe, man. I mean, I can't even believe we're like in this, man. Like,
I really wish I had videoed myself, taped myself, my feelings after the Texas game so that I could go back and look at
I
them
wish we
now.
would have had, like, looking back now, I wish we would have been on live when they made that play, but no one in the world could have seen that coming.
We almost were.
I know. I was about to put it on, but I was like, I don't know. No, it wasn't because I thought we were going to win. It was just like, might as well get a jump on this.
You know, another terrible officiating call that I'm not going to put it out there as heavily, but I think it's a bad call. On the illegal forward pass on Milroe, the pass was incomplete.
You got to be kidding me, bro.
Look at this. Look at Dinovine.
Woo! Roll, motherfucking Tide. Flag us, YouTube. Dinovine just picked up the tab, baby.
Look at this. The Gators are winning now because of Dinovine.
Dinovine, I'm pouring me another one just for you, bro. And your mom.
Your mom.
It says she likes the RMFT.
I know.
The funny thing is
great is that if you don't know the background on him requesting you to do it, it sounds like a terrible your mom joke.
No.
But Dinovine is in here spreading the love.
No, we do that. We do the home game shows. It's so funny, like when we're at Florida Bama and people walk up and when you're like, yeah, we do the show here when Bama's on the road, and we're at Innisfree and Unique when we're on the road, you know, and it's like, okay, you know, and then where'd you get the hat? And I'm like, man, Tripp gave me this hat 2 years ago. He's the owner of Innisfree. Like this is his brand. And I had it and I'm like, man, I can't, you know, like, I don't know. Like, it's just, it didn't work for me. I'll just put it like that. Like I had it, but I didn't wear it. Then the Ole Miss game came and I put this hat on, Chad, in the second half. And you know what happened? You know what happened? We whooped their ass.
A lot of ass.
And then it became my lucky hat. Yeah. So now I wear it. Like I love it.
A lot of elixir. A lot of elixir in that
gave him the
half.
elixir. And I told and people have like hit me up of like, hey, like I'm not sponsored by them. You know, I just do the show there, but they don't even sponsor us. We're just like kind of a partner. And I'm like, I think I've had to have sold at least 10 or 15 of these hats because you guys love this hat. Like, you know, this is like you going into work, and it's a great hat. Like honestly, like it's a Richardson style hat, which fits my head perfectly. Like it is the perfect fitting hat, and then it looks cool. So, man, thank you.
That's awesome. You guys are the best.
Man, you guys are. Thank you, man. Thank you, Dinovine, and all you guys that contribute to the to the show. Just sit here and just bask in the glory of another. I thought we were gonna. I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. We're 2 hours and 47 minutes in. Can I let my hair down a little bit?
Yeah,
I thought we were gonna whoop their ass.
Yeah,
and I'm not just saying that because we're so much better than them. Like they suck in so many areas. Auburn, like their offensive line's not good. Their defensive line's not good. Like their secondary's not good. You know, like their quarterback's bad. Like, but then today, like they played amazingly. And Dinovine, bro, thank you, man.
He is a champion. Adam called him a champion. That's spot on. Dinovine's a champion.
I love this. I love this competition. Tipping it to you. Roll motherfucking Tide. Go ahead and YouTube will fucking get me again. But and look, it wasn't that I was disrespecting Auburn. I just really believe in this Alabama team, you know, and the environment. They weren't overwhelmed by the environment. No. They didn't go into the game overwhelmed by the environment. It just like the way that the game played out was Auburn played the best game they could have possibly played. They played the best game that they could possibly play, Dinovine and Adam and Chad and everybody hanging out. And like you're looking at them and you're like, these guys aren't that good. And I kept saying that. And you know when it finally showed up? When they fumbled the damn punt.
Yep.
And it was because they took a cheap shot at our punter. If they would have just like blocked the guy and ran off the field, that would not have happened. I'm serious.
Yeah, you went with the karma play.
That's true.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, like, look, it's like this in life. Like, you treat people the way that you want to be treated. You know, I played sports, and you know what? Like, you respect the guy on the other side of the field. I've been the worst player on the team, and I've been the best player on the team. I've been one of the best players in the league, and I've been one of the worst players in the league. And being the worst stinks, and being the best is tough because you got a high standard you got to like uphold, you know? Uh-oh. And but you can always throw out respect when you got your guy laying on the damn punter. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. Literally laying
That's
on
what
him.
you got. You got what you deserved.
And putting the hand on the face mask too. I think he
Yeah.
did that too.
Donovan, you are a true champion. Thank you, Adam. Look at this. Ed says we need to send Christmas cards to Auburn's punt returner. Him and the guy that laid on the 84. Wasn't that 84 that was like he was like picking on the weak kid in the lunchroom?
84 was like, I'm gonna get my moment.
I'm gonna show everybody what I can do.
I'm gonna hiss somebody.
Yeah.
He thought he was gonna show off. Here's some quick updates.
But Dickie says this. He's like, absolutely believe the Bama would stomp narrative. Like, it's not, I mean, dude, Alabama was a much better team. That's what's so crazy about playing those guys. Like, but the other thing I want to say too, and I didn't bring this up yet, is that I remember when Alabama was kind of that 6-5 team, you know, and you play like the Music City Bowl, or you play in Shreveport. You know, you guys don't remember that. I'm going back to the, you know, Dubose, Shula, Franchione days. And Chad, you know what I'm talking about. And you would see these teams and they would lose to like Auburn by like a touchdown or two. You know, like they would lose to LSU by like 10. Like it wasn't like they were getting blown out every game. It was just they didn't have enough to get over the hump. And I remember when Saban showed up, like him taking what we had and then adding to it and winning that championship in 2009. And that one's really special to me just because like I know that those guys, we're friends with those guys. You know, they're friends of ours now. Like what those guys went through and the fact that they bought in what Saban was selling. Barron said it last night here. He said that their team would beat any of these other championship teams. You heard him say that.
Yeah, he said we would find a way to win.
I love it, man. It's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Nothing worse than when McElroy says that Texas would have beat them if Colt McCoy wouldn't have gotten hurt. You know, and I get it. I mean, he was kind of the weak link on the team, you know, so he probably feels like, hey, you know, we didn't have like a superstar quarterback like McCoy. But, dude, don't undercut yourself like that, man. You had Julio Jones and you had Mark Ingram and you had a group of guys that refused to lose, man. They would have beat McCoy. Because you had Nick Saban as head coach. You had the best head coach in the history of college football on your sideline. I mean, is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that team was, you know, that team, Saban and Bama, they've had so many good teams. Florida State's got to try a long field goal now or go for it.
Dude, Georgia Tech's like kind of hanging in there.
Yeah,
You entertain the audience. I got to walk outside real quick. I'll be right back.
I love that he has to go outside. Those beers are catching up at this point. Hey, one other thing though for everybody. So Mick and I talk about it. We literally cannot thank you guys enough for hanging out. I mean, almost 3 hours here and you guys hanging out. On the channel and the super chats and the comments and, you know, everything that you got. Make sure you do like and subscribe to the page as well. We're trying to get to that 2,000 number. We're only 30 to 40 shy of that at the moment. So help us out, like, subscribe. It would be a huge honor if you could do that and get us that much closer to the 2,000 number, because we'd love to see that as we go into the SEC championship against Georgia. And hopefully Florida can hold Florida State here. They picked up a first down on 4th and 3. They got 3 yards on first. So now it's 2nd and 7. Clocks at around the 10:30 mark. Gators by 1. So a field goal here does give the Noles a 2-point lead. But Mick,
we're in the fourth quarter.
We are. Yeah. Go to that 09 team, Mick. That 09
go back
team.
to it. Go back to them.
Is that the best team, or would any of the other national title teams have beat them? I know what Barron said, but do you think 11, 12, 15, 17, or 20 would have beaten that team?
Well, here's what I'll say, and I agree with Mike Johnson's the one that says this, is that he was one of the captains and a 2-time All-American. He's like, look, what rules are you playing by? Those guys had a different set of rules. Like, they kept changing the rules to benefit like the offenses, So it's like, it's hard to argue that the 2020 team would have won. I mean, they played 10 conference games, and a great point, but at the same time,
like SEC title.
Right. But at the same time, like, that team in 09 beat Florida with Tim Tebow. And you guys got to remember, that's the best championship. That was the national championship. Let's be honest. No one thought Alabama was going to beat Florida. No one.
No.
And not only did they beat them, but it was like, it was as we say here in lower Alabama and LA, it was a good old fashioned country ass whooping.
It was.
And Tebow, who I like a lot now, but at the time I didn't, crying on the sideline and stuff. They had to overcome the biggest obstacle. And then the other thing too is like to win it for the first time. I love the 2020 team, loved covering them. The 2017 team was great. 2015 was probably my second favorite team. And I tell that, and this, Chad, which is funny because I never knew I was going to do a show with Jake Coker, but I was in the Jake Coker fan club from 2014 and then in 2015. And you guys know this. I mean, you and Ben. I just always believed in him. And you know what? I mean, like, the funny thing is I get to know him, and eventually I'm like, dude, I got to tell you, man, like, I'm probably one of your biggest fans, like back in the day, and when they finally like let him like do his thing, like we won. That team was a lot of fun to watch, man. I always loved Jonathan Allen. He was my favorite player on that team. Loved him.
Does Jake ever, or has he ever brought up and talked about what happened with that Ole Miss game and why he didn't start and Cooper Bateman did?
He's talked about it a few times, and you know what? We'll have to get him on here and let him kind of explain that whole thing. But I think that basically they just I think from what he's told me, he just would have liked them to just kind of pick somebody and go with them, And when it finally was him, he was just like, hey, we're gonna roll like this, And I think that's the tough part about any kind of quarterback controversy. It's like, hey, man, like who's got the job? But you remember, man, I mean, like being at that game when they finally put him in, we started moving the ball. I was doing the post-game show so I used to do this post-game show on Tide Radio in Tuscaloosa. I hated it. I never wanted to do it. I just wanted to do the pregame show with Mike Barron, Ben, and me. And that was like, but I had to do the post-game show. And they would want, like, you'd play these, like, and that was a night game, you'd play like these 7:30 games. And then you couldn't just like this show, like you just jump on and do it like right after the game. All right, Florida State's back ahead. Yeah. You would do like this show, like the game's over and we're doing it. Like you'd have to wait for Crimson Tide Sports Network to do their post-game show. And you're talking about like, 100 Golden Flake commercials, and like they're like taking one call, and then they're doing like, you know, a 4-minute commercial break, and then they're coming back and doing another call. And you know, it's not the commentator's fault. It's just kind of the format for that. All they're doing is just like basically running through these sponsors that they have, right? And then they would get finished, and then like 2 hours later, you're on the air. And by that time, everybody's like, I'm not, you know, like you guys have sat here and we've talked for 3 hours, but we've talked for 3 hours. You haven't had one commercial. Come on, you know, like, look, hold on. Let me take that back. I'm going to put a commercial up right now for my favorite mortgage company.
We've had what they call in the business live reads.
Yeah,
So
there's your live read with your mortgage advisor for Modern Lending, Chad Anderson. So, anyway, that game happens. I got to leave in like the third quarter to get to the radio station, or maybe the fourth quarter. But I got to go from Bryant-Denny to the radio station to sit around for that terrible, radio post-game show, which isn't any good. And it's all commercials. And then finally I get on the air and it's like, no one's even going to call in. Like no one even cares at that point. Like, so we lose. And I'm by the time that we're really losing, like I'm on the corner of 15th and Queen City Boulevard, right? That's the exact spot where your friend Ben and my acquaintance had a car accident when we were in college. I was driving and somebody with donuts hit us. It's a long story, and some guy is yelling at me like, we lost. Like, and I'm like, bro, the sun's going to come up tomorrow and we're going to win the national championship. Go on to the station, And it was like Jake Coker came in and it was just that final piece that we needed for that particular team, And from that point on, that team was good. I wish that we would have kind of given him the reins in 2014 because, as you guys know, you and Ben know, and I'll tell you guys now, I just was I never bought into Blake Sims as a championship quarterback. And honestly, I was absolutely floored that team won the SEC championship that year. But I never saw what I see with Milroe, like when I see Milroe and I see this guy and his ability to like run and then throw the deep ball, that pass that won the game tonight, that's the best pass you can make in that situation. I don't think Blake Sims ever had that ability. And I think that if they would have put kind of like a passer type quarterback, they would have won in 2014. And that's just how I feel, And we went down to New Orleans for the game, and I kept telling everybody, I'm like, there's no way Blake Sims is going to beat anybody. That all they got to do is put like a kind of a linebacker and force him to throw the ball, and in the middle of the field he's going to make mistakes, And we did. And then you guys didn't talk to me the whole ride back from New Orleans.
I didn't ride back with you.
Well, Ben didn't. Ben and his wife, they didn't even talk.
I flew home from.
No one talked to me.
No,
because I was a jerk for saying that, but it's just how I felt, man. Like I mean, and it's not that I cheered against Blake Sims, but I don't know, man. I just didn't see it.
Yeah, that one stung. That one in New Orleans. That one stung quite a bit.
We all shared. This was a great idea. We all shared the same hotel room. You remember that?
Yeah, we did. There were very few rooms. You know what was crazy? It was crazy.
It was like three. It was all of us and our wives in the same hotel room.
My wife wasn't there.
So were you? You were on the couch.
I was on the couch,
and then we were in the double beds.
Yes, I remember watching Georgia Tech, Mississippi State in the Orange Bowl, and Georgia Tech, I think, just boat raced them in that game. But
those were the days.
The Paul Johnson days. I went that morning. Do you remember where I started my day that morning?
Where'd you start it?
Paris, France.
Oh, dude, I did. Now that you say that, I do remember that. What were you doing out there?
Me and my wife decided that we didn't have kids yet. And so we decided that instead of doing like Christmas where you kind of go all over the place and see everybody and all the houses and cities and everything.
Right.
We just went to Europe for 2 weeks for our Christmas present. Like we didn't
Oh,
buy
that's a great thing, man.
Yeah, we just went.
Experiences are so much better than gifts.
100%. So we just went.
So down with that.
And what was crazy, so the game is on New Year's night. January 1st was that game. We flew in, we left Paris, which is like 7 hours ahead.
Paris.
We left Paris, Paris. We left there that morning and we flew and connected into New York City. And when we went to New York, they said, hey, the plane's oversold. Does anybody want to wait? And I said, well, hey, I'll wait if you fly me from New York to New Orleans instead of having to go to Nashville. Because I had to book my flight from Paris to Nashville originally at home. But then when I got to Nashville, I had to get off the plane, go get my bags, and then go check in at Southwest and get on the flight to New Orleans. Like I went Paris, New York, Nashville, get your bags, then go to New Orleans. Then I meet up with you guys. You're probably half drunk. And I get down there.
No, not me. Not me.
I get down there. I'm like sleeping on the couch because there's no rooms in New Orleans. And, I'm just like, what the hell's happened? I think I was awake for 30 straight hours.
Were you? I don't. You know what I remember is we went to one of the bars on the show, Bar Rescue.
Yeah, we did do that.
Were you with us when we did that? Yeah, I mean, we did that.
I remember going to a bar, and I remember Ben getting into it with an Ohio State fan.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Does not surprise me.
Adam, I'm really screwing Adam here because I'm telling the story about how I'm married, and I'm also telling a story of how me and my wife went to Paris. So like Adam's got to.
We didn't go to Paris. I've got to get more super chats up before we do that. But oh, I'm just kidding, man. I'll tell you, man. Like I never thought for a second we were going to win that game, and we had great seats. And I knew we weren't going to win, man. And then the next year, we went to pass. I'll tell you, man. We went to Arizona, and we had a blast. The next year, Coker's year, when he's playing, you know, and he's on the field, and I'm like, dude, there's no way you had more fun than we had. Like, I stayed at our friend Colin's house in Gilbert, Arizona. I was in a Andrew Bone reminds me of this. I was in an RV that they had parked at their house for the game, and it was me, Mike Johnson, Baron Huber, and Bone. And those guys kept farting in there. Like we had to leave the door open. And then while we were there, I think Tom Petty died. Like we were like all talking about how much we love Tom Petty. And then we won the national championship. It was great. And I said, I don't want to ever sit with those guys again because Mike and Baron are so physical when things are going on. And I'm just getting pounded.
Lineman and a linebacker, a fullback.
Fullback. They're like pounding me, like, roar, roar, like that was great, man. I had such a good time.
Well, what was crazy about Arizona too was remember how like cheap the tickets were?
Yeah, they were like $30 outside, cheaper on the outside.
Yeah, because when you take,
they didn't have enough flights to get everybody out there.
That, and then when you take like Bama and Clemson, who are southeastern programs, and fly them across the country just to play each other.
Yeah,
and Bama too had been so many times.
Bama there's
had been a lot.
Let me put the Daniel Moore print up. I think I can do it. Oh no, you know what? I don't have that camera plugged in, but it's so funny when Jake sits in here and he like sits right next to his picture on that Daniel Moore print.
Just FYI, too, this is not looking good. Florida had to punt. And so the Noles have it. 5:37 left in the game, up by 2.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, so we'll do 5 more minutes. Do you have to go somewhere and come back, or what are you doing?
I have to eat
before
I fall face first on the desk here.
You don't need any food.
The 3 kids, I'm probably going to get a stank eye here in a minute.
Well, you go. You jump off. I'm hanging for the end of the game.
See if we can hang for the end of the game here. Let's see what
you gonna hang.
We'll hang for this possession. I didn't realize we were down to 5 minutes.
All right, the thing about your kids, like the way you were screaming in your house when Alabama took the lead.
Yeah, my kids, man, they hear too many words.
That's crazy.
They hear too many words. Yeah, Dad is nuts. Like Nash looks at me weird a lot of times. He did. He's sitting right in front of the camera, though, right on the other side of the camera.
Is he still hanging with you?
Oh yeah, he's still hanging.
Good for him, man.
He and Ivy's right over here. They both hang pretty late. What's funny is he randomly chimes in on our show. You just don't hear him.
Okay.
But when you're telling the fart jokes, like,
does he love fart jokes?
You got to cackle out of it.
My son did something today. Like they come running in, like, wow, what happened? Like he pulled his pants down and farted on me, and something got on my face.
Nash says it sounds like Mick farts.
I've farted before. It's like, like, what do you do? Like, that's terrible. Here, come over here and let me fart on you. Like, I don't know, man. Having like I'm friends with girls and they're like, oh, they color and stuff. And then boys fart. You got 3 of them.
I do. My poor wife, man. I mean, she's got me and 3 boys and then my dog. And yeah, she's a saint.
Ed's like, yeah, he's ready for the fart jokes to stop.
Yeah.
It's not even that. I mean, like when you have kids, you'll see. It's just, man, I don't know. 3 hours and 10 minutes in though. I'm looking for, do you think Florida could possibly come up with a play to win this thing?
They could come up with yeah, because they only need a defensive stop and they only need a field goal. They got a kicker with a leg. Like their kicker's good from about 55.
Is that the guy that was going to come to Alabama and then rolled out?
That's Eddie Pinheiro. He kicks for the Panthers now. I'm actually going to see him tomorrow because the Titans host the Panthers tomorrow.
Are you going to the game or are you going to watch it on TV?
No, I'm going. We're going. Nash is excited about seeing Bryce Young. So,
oh, nice. Well, Nash, the Titans stink.
They're terrible.
Can you tell Nash that there's still time to jump on the Ravens bandwagon this year?
Yeah, he gets annoyed with the Titans just like we all do. He says he talks about. He always asks me, he's like, Dad, why can't the Titans ever win at other stadiums?
This is pretty funny here. Adam's asking me about the flower shop with Adrian Adonis. That's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
Old school right there. Thundar, thanks, brother. Thanks for hanging out with us. Roll Tide, man.
Enjoyed it, Thundar.
Kenny, Bryce Young is not a bust yet. The offensive line's terrible, man.
It's awful. It's like the Patriots' offensive line and why Mac Jones has no time.
Give
to
the
throw
guy at least get him
no
some
targets and no line.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that whole formula that he had when Tom Brady was the quarterback, like they could just go and get no receivers, no options, and then they would win anyway. Those days are over.
PI against Florida. So what sucks is that pass had no chance of being caught.
Oh, so State has it back. I mean,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's a horse shit call. That is a terrible PI call. The throw was nowhere near, and the Florida State receiver initiated the contact.
Right.
That was all. It's 1st and 10 now at their own 46, 4:50 left. Man, that was a bad call.
Well, maybe they'll score with 30 seconds left. What if they win with
4th and 31?
4th and 31. Man, where does this rank in the greatest comeback wins that you remember for Alabama?
So, they put up a stat at the end of the game that said Alabama under Nick Saban has 18 come from behind wins in the fourth quarter.
Before him. There was some games in Baton Rouge where we came from behind.
Yeah, it's like, man, we really were behind 18 times with Nick Saban in the fourth quarter. I guess so.
A lot of them were at Auburn.
Yeah. Oh,
There we go. There we go.
Sack.
Little
I was
sack.
looking for the strip sack. 3rd and long, though. That was a big sack. Shoot, I don't know, man. Like all the come from behind games, like just, I mean, 2 years ago, Iron Bowl was insane. The 2018.
I know I've had my house for 2 years because I watched the other one here. You know the story with that, right? Somebody invited me over to their house for the Iron Bowl, and they had some Auburn fans there, and they weren't. Yeah, and they were like, "Oh my God! Like, I heard Nick Saban was like retiring. Like, I don't really follow football, but and then like we're losing. You know, it's same type of game.
Yeah.
I packed up my shit and rolled out, dude. Like halftime, like, where you going, Mick? Like, I'm out of here, man. Like, and I came in here and watched 4 overtimes and a win.
Unless I'm in the stadium, there's only about 4 people I'll watch a game with.
I can't do it, dude. Like I can't. Like I just
are you guys like that in the chat? Or like
good
there's
question.
only about 4 or 5 people I watch games with, or I'm willing to. Like if somebody said, "Hey, you come watch a game with me," like it's a short list. I'm not big on. I definitely don't go to parties to watch games.
Not the Iron. No, I'll go to a party to watch a game, just not the Iron Bowl.
I remember being 12 and being dragged to a party, an Iron Bowl party with my dad and stepmom. And I'm not kidding. I went into a bedroom and watched it on a TV by myself.
Yeah.
At 12, I wanted nothing to do with anybody else.
Right.
Watching an Iron Bowl. But
I mean, as much as I want to say, like, I like the Tennessee game, that rivalry is the best. I hate losing to these people.
Yeah.
I mean, can't stand it, man. Like, I just can't. Like, I don't know why.
Best comeback for me that, like, top of my head, I'm not going through the whole schedule. It's one of 2. It's the same team, same situation. SEC championship. And it's either 2012 or 2018. Both against Georgia. 2012, McCarron hits Cooper at the end of the game, and they hold on.
Man, I'll never forget that one,
Jalen replaces Tua.
2012, I'm on a plane coming back from, I think, Cincinnati, filling in for Chris Stewart on Crimson Tide Sports Network, right?
That when you and your boy Anthony Grant were hanging out?
Hate Anthony Grant. What a douchebag. But, yeah, he was the coach, and then worst guy I've ever been around in sports. Bad person. I'm just going to tell you guys that he is a bad person. I'm just going to leave it right there. And Brian Pasick and I are on the plane, and we're like losing when we got on the plane, right? By like 10 or something. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess we lost, you know? And then when we landed, we had won. But we're coming down like in the Tuscaloosa airport, you know, like we're kind of coming down. And then you start to get like the service in your phone. And there was like a minute left and we had to lead, you know. And then you could see like where the ball was, you know. And I'm like, man, we're going to lose this. But we did.
That's brutal.
I know. That was terrible. That I missed it, but it was awesome that we won that one. And then I told Mike and Barron this when we were at the game in Arizona, the national championship game. That was like my makeup for missing the game with Cooper and those guys, because we didn't have a lot of those shootout type of games. You know what I mean? Like that was like kind of like the makeup of missing that.
Yeah. Well, they get him.
Oh, there's a holding.
He's running. Oh God, that's
should be a holding back at the other part of that.
Well, the whole Florida State staff,
they might have just
running onto the field. That guy got clocked. I'm talking about Rodebaker here, the quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, you know.
Is snow coming? I see it snowing in the Iowa-Kansas State game.
It's not coming for me.
Not in Nashville? El
believe
Nino?
But,
does anybody remember when Chris Farley did the El Nino skit on SNL back in the day?
It's just like, it's a flag. but I hate
That's a
it when
flag. That's an
everybody
easy one.
reacts.
That's an easy one. I know, but look, dude, once
It
you slide,
is.
you can allow it. They both hit him.
I know, but do it real speed. It's just so hard as a defender to ease up because it's 3rd and 14. Like, the guy's going for the first down. I can't believe he slid, to be honest.
John's sleeping, but he's farting in here. I'm just telling you guys that, like, right down the dog.
I wonder if they're going to eject 2 people.
Well, my question is, what about the holding? Did they not call that?
Did not call the holding.
But there's target. And someone's out on the Gators.
Rodemaker's up. I don't know if he's going to keep. I don't know if he's going to go out for a play and come back in. He looks.
Who's the third string?
I don't know. What's going to be really interesting? Well, this just brings up a lot of questions because God, that was a hard hit.
I'll tell you, man, like I was definitely a person that thought that they needed to kind of, come up with some rules to protect the players a little bit. I mean, I'm definitely for that. I don't want it to turn into like it's 2-hand touch, but
Zachary Binks over here with Hocus Pocus. Mentioning the McElroy run against the Gators.
That was a great run. That was a great run.
That hop on one leg down the sideline.
Dude, that was a great run. Like I'm not a huge fan of him as a broadcaster, like as a show host. But that was a great run, man.
So Florida State's going to have it 1st and 10 at around the Florida 35.
Well, they kicked out 23.
Yeah, 23's gone. He's the one that got the PI call too. So he's hooked them up with 30 yards of penalties here on this drive alone. He's the Auburn punt returner.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 1st and 10. If they wanted to slip a couple of targeting calls in on Georgia here in the second half, that would be fine. Now that
some of those guys kicked out.
Yeah, now that Georgia's into the second half, if they want to get pounded with a targeting or 2, that'd be okay.
That was a good play call against Georgia. I got that on. Dude running down the field like untouched.
And they're in the red zone now to the 13.
Adam's so worried, like he thinks Georgia's like untouched.
I think Adam is more worried about him having to listen to all the BS.
Yeah, he is. But I'm telling you, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. Just relax.
Yeah, we're going to be fine. I'm also over here waiting.
No one at Alabama is worried about Georgia. We'll just go in and play our game, and that'll be that.
Batted down at the line.
You know what I mean?
That's an impressive call by Mike Norvell right there.
Yeah.
3rd string quarterback comes in on 1st and 10 at your opponent 33-ish or so. He rolls him out left and throws across his body. That's a crazy first down play call if you think about it, from a 3rd string quarterback in a rivalry game up to under 3.5 minutes.
Might be a good idea to hand it off, is what you're saying.
I'm okay with whatever. That was ballsy. I'm going ballsy twice there. I'm also waiting on the return of CM Punk here at Survivor Series.
Really? Are they saying he might be coming back to WWE?
That's the far-fetched rumor tonight. Supposed to be Randy Orton. There's a flag on Florida State.
Oh yeah, Randy Orton, man. I don't even like WWE.
It's far from what it used to be. Oh, fumble by Tech. Tech got it. Wow, they called offsides on Florida. I thought it was, the way everybody reacted, I thought it was some sort of formation on the Knolls.
Yeah. They're trying to give it to him. I think there could be something miss here.
I'm pretty sure these are ACC officials. Because usually the visiting team, it's the officials are from the visiting team's conference.
Are they?
Yeah. And 3rd and about 3 coming up. They just ran into the middle of the pile there. Florida has 2 timeouts. They're not going to use it yet, which is good. Or did they? Somebody just did. I guess it was Florida. I don't know why Florida State would be burning them. See, that's bad to me. Like, if I'm Florida, I hold that timeout. See what happens on 3rd down. Because if you give it up, I don't know. I don't like that clock management.
Yeah.
Save the timeouts as long as you can. Oh, here comes Rodemaker.
Oh, he's back.
He's back in. He's fine.
He just needed a little break.
3rd and 3. So it's 17-15, 2:56 left, 3rd and 3. And I would imagine, honestly, unless this is a negative play, this may be 4-down territory for Florida State. They may run it twice. Hand off, 1st down. Big run, touchdown.
Man, that sucks.
Guys, what is amazing about this year is that no matter what happens, nobody will lose. And I said it the other day.
That's crazy.
I've said it over and over in the last couple of weeks. Bama is really 5th right now.
Right.
Bama's 5.
Well, what if we do the show on Tuesday and they got Ohio State ahead of Bama?
It wouldn't matter. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't matter. I actually think they will.
They better not.
I think they will. I think Bama will stay at 8. Which is interesting because Washington looked awful against Washington State today. But just remember, Bama's 5. That's the deal. Michigan's in unless Iowa pulls a miracle, which they're not.
Is that who they're playing, Iowa?
Yeah, Iowa. So Michigan's in. Friday night is going to be Washington and Oregon. See, I think now that Washington has won, Adam's so great.
Adam.
So I think now that Washington is
We got
undefeated,
this.
you need Oregon to win and beat Washington because you need Oregon to beat Washington because you need one loss Oregon to be you need Oregon with 1 loss and Bama with 1 loss to be the discussion if it comes down to it. And Bama's going to argue they beat number 1 Georgia. Oregon's going to obviously argue they beat undefeated Washington. So, but Georgia's going to lose. Ohio State did lose. Washington or Oregon, one of them will lose. That's why I say like Bama's 5 at this point. If they win next week against Georgia, worst case is 5. And you would just like to see some sort of an upset. You'd like to see Florida State lose or Texas lose. Oregon winning just to keep an outside shot. But, yeah, Bama's running out of weeks for chaos. I've never seen it, Mick. I've never seen a year. And the part that's really pissed me off is just Oregon's non-conference scheduling. Because if Bama didn't play Texas, they'd be undefeated right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, it's not over yet. They got to beat Georgia, and if they beat Georgia, Tom Abraham, you helped him buy his house. He says that there's no way that they're going to keep Alabama out.
There's a way, and it could happen.
I'm not disagreeing.
There's a way.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, they're just bullying the offensive line now.
That's when you know how bad Florida is. Like they're just guys just get knocked over.
Yeah.
All right.
they're-
Well,
they're
I
chucking
think we've done enough tonight, don't you?
Yeah, that finishes me.
I think that does it. Well, you guys, I appreciate all of you guys. Make sure that if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, that you jump on. We're closing in on our 2,000th subscriber, and so we'll do something fun for that when we get there. But it's going to happen this week at some point. And can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. 3 hours and 28 minutes of. I mean, I still can't even believe it, dude.
I can't either. Real quick, this is some unofficial breaking news, but Mark Passwaters, he covers Texas A&M for Rivals.
Yeah. I know him. Yeah.
Okay, he is reporting that barring any last-minute collapse,
Stoops.
Sources tell AggieYell.com Mark Stoops is going to be the next head coach at A&M.
Yeah, Stoops is going to take that job. I mean, he's a consistent dude. The guy's. I mean, if you can make it happen in Kentucky, man. I mean,
yeah, right. Imagine if you had resources, right? That's the whole argument for Mark Stoops.
Yeah, one beat Louisville leaving town.
Yeah,
loser leave town match. Adam.
And Kentucky should be thankful. Like they shouldn't send him out with venom.
No, man. Like they suck, man. They don't care about that. They're a basketball school. We had Pickleball Paul on our from the Kentucky Radio Network caller line. He came on one of our shows and told me, he's like, we're gonna be good in basketball, we suck in football. So I was like, all right. Thank you. All right, guys. Hey, thank all of you guys for hanging out with us, man. Roll Tide, 3 hours and 30 minutes later. We all kind of just are sitting here right now on top of the world, and we appreciate you guys for being here tonight. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Donovan, thank you, man. Another chat. Dude. Thank you. Awesome. Thank all you guys. Thank you, Donovan, the most, but the rest of you guys second. Hey, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Like we'll do we'll have our show. What time you want to do it tomorrow, Chad? Do you even know yet?
Well, I'm going to the Titans game, so I need to get back home.
Okay.
So we can record it and then have it out by 6 or 7.
Yeah, sometime in that neighborhood. But the rollback show, and we'll see what happens. Man, we need some chaos, but it's not going to happen tonight. But roll motherfucking Tide, all you guys.
Roll Tide.
See ya.